you don't exist. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheap again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of What If Naruto Enters Kingdom Hearts Verse. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of K.F.B. Anime 87 and Thanatos 125 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the authors too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. As Kita was pulling Naruto along through the city, he and his team looked at the city. They could see how amazing and beautiful it was, even though it was a little ruined from the heartless attacks and it looked like this place had seen better days. They also saw how the people were all wearing the same necklace Kita wore, and how everyone would stop and briefly bow to her before going about their business. They were also looking at his group with curiosity, and when the beast walked past, they all kept well out of his way. "This place has seen better days, I'm guessing?" Logan asked. Kita gave a sad nod, as she explained that Atlantis used to be a great city on the surface, before a great cataclysm made the city sink to the bottom of the sea. "Well, we could help around the city while you meet the king," Naruto Garnet said, as she saw some sick and injured people at a big tent nearby. Naruto gave a nod, saying, "That sounds like a good idea. You all split up into small teams though, just in case Heartless show up," Naruto said. Mando nodded at this. "Catch kid," he said, throwing an earpiece to him which Naruto caught, then placed it in his ear. "Just in case things go south, we can contact each other with that," he said. Naruto nodded, as he then separated from the others and left with Kita to the palace. "So, how long has Atlantis been at the bottom of the sea?" Naruto asked, as they approached the palace. Kita thought about it for a moment. "I would say, around 3,800 years give or take," she said with a shrug. Naruto was surprised that Atlantis had been down here for that long, and he wouldn't be surprised if people had either forgotten about it or were still trying to find it. The surface, random military base. A military man was minding his own business, making sure things were in order when he sneezed suddenly. "Are you okay, Commander Rourke?" one of his men asked him. He just nodded his head, as he waved a hand at the soldier saying, "Yes, I'm fine." Back in Atlantis. "Wait, so you're that old?" Naruto asked her in shocked surprise. "Yes," Kita said like it was no big deal. Naruto looked at her with a flabbergasted look at how casually she admitted it, but shook his head. "Well, you look pretty good for someone that old," he said to her. Kid smiled at his words, along with a small blush forming on her cheeks. Kita showed Naruto a few things as she took him to the palace, with Naruto asking her a few questions along the way. "Wait, you guys can't read your own language?" Naruto asked her with a stunned look. Kita shook her head sadly, as she replied, "We lost that knowledge when Atlantis sank." "Well, Mando has tech that could help you guys in translating the ruins. We will make sure to set you guys up before we leave," Naruto said. Kita was surprised to hear this, as this was a great first step in restoring Atlantis to being as it once was. "Thank you," she said with a smile, as they approached the doors to the main chamber. Kita pushes open the doors to reveal a large room. Two guards approached Kita and Naruto, with their spears at the ready when they noticed someone they didn't recognize. Kita looked at the guards and spoke to them in her native tongue, which caused the guards to look at Naruto in surprise. "Kita?" Naruto asked her, not knowing what was going on. "I told them you are a Keyblader, and they waiting for you to confirm it," Kita said to him. Naruto nodded and summoned his Keyblade in its normal form. This caused the guards to bow their heads to Naruto and let him pass. "Why do they bow to me?" Naruto asked her curiously. "Here in Atlantis, a Keyblader is seen as a holy man or a noble," Kita said, while slightly looking over her shoulder at him. Naruto nodded in understanding at this, as they approached an old man who was laid out on a sofa-like bed. Kita kneeled to the man and spoke to him in her native tongue. The old man looked at Naruto and looked at his Keyblade. "What brings you to this world, young man?" he asked Naruto. I'm on a journey to track down some evil people who are gathering princesses from other worlds, he explained to the man. Princesses are being gathered? Kita's father asked in surprise. Yes, the enemy are trying to gather the 7 needed to open the door, Naruto said. So, what my old friend Hagoromo said is coming to pass, the king said with a sigh. You knew the sage? Naruto asked in surprise. Indeed, he was a friend of mine before Atlantis fell beneath the ocean, the man said, WTH a fond smile on his face. Did he seal the keyhole? Naruto asked, hoping that he did. Indeed he did, Kita's father said with a nod. So the Heartless aren't here for the keyhole, Naruto said as he looked at Kita in realization. Indeed, young one, Kita's father said as he looked at Kita too. Why are you two looking at me like that? She asked them both, as she looked from one to the other and back again. The Heartless are after you, my daughter, the king said. Then let them come. I am not afraid, Kita said with a fierce look. Then you're a fool. We don't have the strength or the power to keep the Heartless out of the city. Not without activating the heart of Atlantis, her father said with a disapproving frown. Why can't we use this heart of Atlantis? Naruto asked curiously. It requires a host of royal blood, but if she uses it, then she may be bonded to it forever, the king said with a sad look. Then there is no way we can use it. Is there any tech we can use? Naruto asked him. There is, but that requires the knowledge on how to use it, which we don't have since nobody here can read Atlantan, the king said. Naruto smiled at this and said, Leave that to my friend Mando. He can set you all up with a translator. The king looked thoughtful before he gave a nod saying, Very well then. Have your friend build us a translator as soon as he possibly can, and I will be eternally grateful. Naruto gave a bow to him as he said, I'll let him know immediately if you'll excuse me, and walked over to one side so that he could contact Mando and not disturb Kita and her father, who were talking about something in their native language. Hey Mando, you there? Naruto said into the earpiece. I'm here, kid, Mando's voice said into his ear. What do you need? We need a device for translating Atlantan text. That's something you could make? Naruto asked him. Naruto heard a chuckle on the other side of the earpiece. Kid, I was expecting something hard. Give me until night, and I will have a blueprint and a dozen of them made, Mando said, with a smile under his helmet. That's fantastic, Mando. I knew I could count on you, Naruto said, as he smiled. I'm not joining your harem, kid, so stop sucking up, Mando said, as laughter from the rest of the team was heard on Mando's side of the conversation. Naruto gave a groan at this. Yay, keep laughing, tin can, Naruto said as he rolled his eyes. Kita walked over hearing the crew's laughter over the earpiece. What's so funny? She asked him curiously. Nothing. My friend Mando said by night, he will have translators for you, he said, while giving her a smile. Thank you so much. This will help my people more than you realize, Kita said, as she grasped his hands between hers. Well, we need to keep you out of the hands of the people using the Heartless, and this will help a lot in addition to helping your people, Naruto said. You and your friends can eat with us tonight, and we can start arming our warriors with some old tech we have, Kita told him. Good idea, Naruto said with a nod of his head. Later at dinner, Naruto and Kita met up with the rest of Naruto's team for dinner, and they were all eating some weird sea life. Are you sure this stuff is edible? Shigo asked, as she poked it with a fork. I've had worse, Mando said, as he fed Gragu what looked like a tentacle, while he sat in an Atlantean version of a baby high chair. Same here, Logan said with a shrug. Stitch was eating some lobster-like creature with gusto. Tasty, he said, as he then burped up the shell of the creature back onto the plate in front of him. Manners, Stitch, Helen said, as she ate what looked like meat from a giant crab. Your friends are interesting, Kita said with a smile, as even though Naruto's companions were weird, she could tell they were good people. Yay, I would be lost without them, Naruto admitted with a smile. Suddenly they heard an alarm go off, which made everyone look around. Kita jumped up and grabbed her spear. The Heartless are back, she said. Naruto instantly turned to his friends. Mando, Logan, Beast, they are here to try and take Kita. You three stick with her, no matter what, he said as he summoned his Keyblade. Mando nodded as he pulled out his blaster and put Gragu back in his pod. Logan unsheathed his claws, ready to go. Beast growled and cracked his knuckles, ready to go. "Let's go send the Heartless packing," Lightning said, as she took out her gunblade. Naruto nodded as they all headed to the battle ahead. Town Square. "Find that princess, and if anyone tries to stop you, then take their hearts," Pete yelled at some soldier and big body Heartless, as they all swarmed the area while the civilians ran for cover, as the soldiers fought against the Heartless. Suddenly, a swarm of Heartless was destroyed as Naruto appeared behind them, with his keyblade out as the Heartless behind him disappeared defeated. "Maleficent sent you?" Naruto asked, looking disappointed, as Pete was easily the weakest in her group. "I'm still more than enough to defeat you and your team of homeless losers," Pete said, with an angry look on his face. Suddenly he heard a thud behind him, and when he turned to look he saw Beast looking at him with an enraged look on his face. Before Pete could say or do anything, Beast grabbed him by the neck and held him up. "Where is Belle?" he roared at him. Pete started shaking in fear, but his mouth suddenly glowed and wouldn't open. "Wow, he is pathetic," Lulu said, as she blasted a big body Heartless with a Faraga spell, destroying it. "What is it?" Tifa asked her, as she was curious what was happening to Pete, as she spun in a complete circle while kicking at the Heartless surrounding her. "It's a spell that makes it so Pete can't talk when asked certain questions," Lightning said, as she stabbed a soldier Heartless, before she turned her sword into its gun form and shot at one running towards her. "So, he's so weak, Maleficent had to make sure he wouldn't talk?" Logan asked, as he slashed through a couple of Heartless that were attacking some civilians. Lightning nodded, saying, "Apparently so." "Chicken wuss," Stitch said as he bit off the head of a Heartless. "Pretty much yeah," Lulu said, shrugging her shoulders. "We need to stop the Heartless," Naruto said. Beast nodded as he approached a cliff with Pete and held him over the edge. "Make the Heartless leave, now. My arms are getting tired," Beast said, as he slightly loosened his grip on Pete. Pete went pale hearing this, as the look in Beast's eyes promised that he would drop him if he didn't comply. He snapped his fingers, and all the Heartless disappeared. "There, now let me go," Pete said, as he looked down and saw jagged rocks at the bottom. Beast looked at Pete and said, "Sure thing," letting him go, dropping him. Pete screamed as he fell, but a black portal appeared and he fell into it, saving him, with the portal closing back up. "Damn," Beast said, sounding disappointed, as he turned and headed back to the others. "Little brutal, but at least we minimized the damage to the city," Helen said, while looking at Beast with a wary look. "It gets results," Beast growled at her, as he walked over to a flat rock to sit on. "So what's the plan now?" Garnet asked, hoping that someone had an answer. "Well, the keyhole is sealed already, and we have translators for the city. So, I'm thinking we rest and head out for the next world tomorrow," Naruto said. "You're leaving?" Kita asked, sounding disappointed, with her eyes downcast. "Don't worry, you can visit me in Traverse Town, thanks to the magic seal Garnet set up," Naruto said, as he laid his hand on her shoulder and gave her a smile. Garnet nodded at this, confirming it was true. "Great, now let's go eat. I'm still hungry, and all this fighting made my appetite return," Beast said, as he got up and walked back towards the palace. Naruto nodded, as him and his friends followed after the Beast. "You are so pathetic, I'm at a loss for words," Maleficent said, as she looked at Pete, who was bowing to her in fear. "Why we still keep you around is beyond me," the Horned King said, as he was giving Pete a glare. "Please, give me another chance," Pete pleaded to them. "You are to guard the princesses, along with the Heartless from now on. And if you screw that up, then you will join your world in the infinite void," the Horned King said. Pete gave a fearful gulp, as he stood back up and left the room. "Well, this was a waste of time. That princess will be out of reach, now that they have their tech back up and running," Hades said, as he crossed his arms over his chest. "It matters not, there are plenty of princesses available to us," Hook said. "Which means nothing, as long as that Keyblader has the heart of that Hyuga," Dr. Fassiler said unhappily. "It wasn't a total loss in that world," Jafar said, as he looked into the crystal ball, watching an image of Naruto earlier, before the Heartless attacked. "You have an idea?" the Horned King asked, as Jafar's plans were always good, but not always beneficial to the group. The image of Naruto said, "Yay, I would be lost without them, while looking at his friends. Indeed I do, Jafar said with a grin. Next morning, Naruto and his team were outside the city, saying their goodbyes to Kita. Kita handed a present to Stitch, who opened it with gusto. "Ooh," he said, as he pulled out 4 blasters with his forearms. "Great, now the alien theme is complete," Helen said, with an unhappy look. Suddenly, Naruto's friends disappeared in a puff of smoke. "What the?" Naruto asked with a frown. He then heard what sounded like a man cackling, as Jafar appeared in front of him. Naruto summoned his Keyblade and blocked Jafar's path from Kita. "Relax, boy. Your friend is of no interest to me or my group. Now, I'm here to make a deal with you," Jafar said. "Not interested," Naruto said with glare. Jafar smiled confidently at this. "Are you sure, boy?" he asked, as he stomped his staff and made a bubble appear in front of Naruto. When Naruto looked inside the bubble, he saw his friends asleep and locked in a dungeon. Naruto's whisker marks became more defined. "If you hurt them, I swear I'll—" he snarled at Jafar. "Your friends will be fine, boy. I am here to request that you run an errand for me, if you will," he said with an evil smile. "What kind of errand?" Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. "It will require you to go to my world, which I will send you to, of course, if you accept the deal," Jafar said, as he held his hand out to Naruto. "Again, what's the errand?" Naruto asked, losing his patience. Jafar put his hand down and said, "I would like you to go into the desert and go to this cave and bring me a certain item." "Where is this cave, and what's the item in question?" Naruto asked him, as he crossed his arms and raised an eyebrow. "It's a lamp," Jafar said, as he made an image of it appear in front of Naruto. "And if I bring this to you, you will return my friends unharmed?" Naruto asked him. "I am a man of my word, my boy. I'll even provide you with a map to the cave itself," Jafar said. Naruto glared at Jafar. "Deal," he said. "Excellent," Jafar said, as he handed Naruto a rolled-up parchment, and he then stomped his staff and a dark portal appeared. "This portal will take you to my world, Agrabah. You have 3 days to deliver the lamp to me at the palace, otherwise your friends pay the price," he said, as he disappeared into his own portal. Kita grabbed Naruto's hand. "I don't trust him," she said. "Me neither, but if I'm gonna save my friends, I need to play along for now," Naruto said, as he gave her a comforting smile. "You mean we?" Kita said with a determined look on her face. Naruto looked at her, puzzled at her words. "I'm going with you. You need someone to watch your back on this," she told him, as she grabbed her spear from the guard holding it. Naruto's hair shook and Tinkerbell flew out and hovered next to Kita, nodding her head in agreement with her. Naruto sighed at this. "Fine, I'm outvoted on this, so let's go," Naruto said, as Tinkerbell flew back into his hair. Naruto and Kita approached the portal to Agrabah and stood just 1 step away from entering it. Naruto looked at Kita, who nodded and grabbed his hand as they both walked through it. Streets of Agrabah. Naruto and Kita walked out of the portal and saw that they were in what looked like a desert kingdom. As they looked around, Naruto suddenly felt something nearby, something familiar. "No way," Naruto said with a big smile, as he hoped his senses were right. He picked Kita up bridal style, who gave an eep of surprise and jumped to the rooftops. When Naruto made it to the rooftops, he looked around and soon he spotted a familiar redhead in the crowd below, along with a blonde woman and a man that had war paint on his face. Naruto smiled and ran on the walls and jumped towards the 3. "Gaara!" he yelled out as he landed on the ground. The red-headed boy turned to look at Naruto, and his eyes slightly widened in surprise. "Naruto? Is that you?" the blonde woman asked, surprise in her voice. "It certainly looks like that blonde idiot," the guy with war paint on his face said, as he crossed his arms with a smirk on his face. Tinkerbell flew out of Naruto's hair and flew at the man with war paint and pulled on his hood, showing he had red hair too. "Hey, what is this, a trick?" the man yelled as he tried to grab Tinkerbell, who flew back to Naruto. Naruto put Kita down and approached the 3 of them. "Relax, Tink, he says it with some level of respect," he said as he looked at them. "It's kind of ironic that the Sand siblings would show up here. Hagara, Temari and Kankuro?" Naruto asked them with a smile. Yay, another world, and it's just as hot as back home, Temari said, as she lightly fanned herself with a small fan. Who are your friends Naruto? Gaara asked, looking Kita and Tinkerbell, who was still harassing Kankuro. Would you stop that? Kankuro said, as he tried to make her stop pulling at his hair. It's fine, Tink. They are from my world, Naruto said to her. Tinkerbell flew back to Naruto's hair and blew a raspberry at Kankuro before she disappeared into Naruto's hair. This is Kita, a friend of mine from another world, and you already met my fairy friend, Tinkerbell, Naruto said to them. Fairies are real? Temari asked with surprise. Naruto smiled at this. I have seen a lot since you last saw me, he said, with his hands interlocked behind his head. Then let's go to the rooftops, where we can talk more in private, Gaara said. Yay, you probably have a lot to tell us, Kankuro said, as they all jumped to the rooftops. Hold on, Naruto said as he picked up Kita again and followed after the Sand siblings. Rooftops an hour later. Naruto had just finished explaining the situation, with everything up to now, to the Sand siblings. So, our world is gone for good? Gaara asked in shock. Naruto gave a sad nod. But I can take you to a world where everyone who lost their worlds go, Naruto said. Well, obviously that's not true, Temari said. Naruto tilted his head at her, not getting what she said. Think about it, Naruto. We lost our world and we ended up here instead. So, obviously not everyone who lost their world is lucky enough to end up in this Traverse Town, Kankuro said. Naruto frowned hearing this, as they had a good point. There could be hundreds of people who need help getting to Traverse Town. Never mind that. For now you need to get this lamp, so you can save your friends, right? Gaara asked, looking at Naruto. Yay, that old guy Jafar took them hostage, Naruto said with a frown. Wait, the Grand Vizier took your friends? Temari asked in shock. Ha, knew that guy was a scumbag, Kankuro said with a smug look. If you are gonna go into the desert, then you will need supplies for what might be a long trip, Gaara said. And your friend will need a new outfit, as she sticks out like a sore thumb, Temari said, looking at Kita. Well, I can go get food and water for us, while you all go get other supplies and clothes for Kita, Naruto said. Good idea, Temari said with a nod. Kankuro gave Naruto a teasing look, as he said, Who are you, and what have you done with the real Naruto? 'Cause I'm sure that the real Naruto was never this smart, or thought things through. Gaara slapped the back of Kankuro's head with a sand whip, which caused him to rub it to help the pain go away. Kita was looking at Kankuro and asked him, Is that makeup on your face? This caused Kankuro to face plant into the floor, while Temari and Tinkerbell started laughing and Gaara to smile slightly. It's war paint, Kankuro yelled while getting up, as he dusted himself off. You are a warrior? What are your skills? Kita asked, as she followed the Sand siblings. Naruto shook his head at this, smiling as he went his own way to get food and water. Thankfully, he still had the jewels from Merlin, which were worth a lot. Naruto was walking around the marketplace and looking for food for the trip into the desert. He bought some fruits and jerky, which he had heard were useful in the desert. He was trying to find where to buy some water, when suddenly something caught his eye. A young man and woman sitting on top of a market stand that was selling some fruit, and they had a little monkey distracting the peddler, while the man and woman took a fruit each. Clever, Naruto thought, as he chuckled at the monkey teasing the peddler so he would pay attention to him, while the man and woman stole fruit from the other side. He then looked at an apple stand, which he figured a few apples would be useful for the trip, so he headed there. When he got there, he saw a young woman around his age in a brown robe handing some apples to some kids who had hungry looks on their faces. Naruto smiled, seeing this as he had experience with going hungry for days, and he was glad that at least these kids had someone trying to look out for them. You better be able to pay for all of that, a big man growled at the woman as the kids ran off. Naruto was quick to get to the stall, as he could tell that the woman didn't have any money on her. Don't worry, kind sir, I'll pay for them. And I'll take some apples for myself too, please, he said, while holding up a small ruby. The man smiled seeing this, as he could tell that ruby would be a big payday for him. Of course, my good man. Let me bag up your apples. You didn't need to do that, the woman said, as the man started bagging the apples for Naruto. Yea, I did. He was gonna most likely hurt you or have you arrested if you didn't pay him, Naruto said. Oh, the woman said with a frown, as she didn't think of that. Sorry, she said with a bow of her head. Don't apologize, you did the right thing helping those kids, Naruto said with a smile. The woman smiled hearing this, as she was glad the man in front of her agreed with her. Here you go, sir, the big man said, handing him a bag of apples. Naruto lightly smirked, as he handed a small ruby from behind his back to the man. As the man caught it, and started to inspect it greedily. Let's go quickly, Naruto whispered to the woman, as he grabbed her hand and dragged her with him. As they got a little away, the small ruby in the fat man's hand poofed away into nothing. The man's eyes widened, and he gained a look of anger. Get back here, you thieves, he yelled, looking towards where Naruto and the woman were. Naruto picked up the woman into a bridal carry and ran quickly with the woman holding on tight. He saw some guards about to block his path, when he jumped quickly, which looked like him disappearing to the guards. Naruto landed on a rooftop and set the woman down as she let go of him. What did you do? She asked him, with a look of wonder. I tricked that guy with a fake jewel, Naruto said, as that was the best explanation he had for using a shadow clone disguised as a jewel. Ha! Good one, a young man's voice said from behind Naruto. When he and the woman with him looked, they saw the man and woman that tricked the fruit peddler with their monkey, who was currently sitting on the man's shoulder while eating a piece of melon. You aren't with the guards, are you? The woman with Naruto said, with a wary look. Are you kidding? I would never help those guards, the man said. I'm Aladdin, and this is my girlfriend Sadira, he said as he introduced themselves to Naruto and the robed woman. The monkey started making annoyed noises at Aladdin, along with hitting him on the head. And this is Abu, our monkey, Sadira said with a smile, as she pet Abu on the head, who calmed down with a happy look on his face. Name's Naruto, and this is... I don't know, Naruto said, as he looked at the woman he saved, realizing he didn't have her name yet. Save it for later. The guards are starting to look for us on the rooftops, the woman said, pointing at a nearby rooftop. Damn, Naruto said, as he didn't want to start a fight over something this stupid or pointless. Follow us. We know a place where you can hide for a bit, Aladdin said, as he ran to another rooftop with Sadira following after him. Naruto nodded as he grabbed the hand of the woman he saved and followed Aladdin and Sadira. Abandoned building. They soon arrived in an abandoned building that looked run down but lived in. This is where the two of you live, the woman asked as she gazed at all the second-hand stuff in the house. Yup, just me, Sadira and Abu, Aladdin said with a smile as he sat on a couch. Come and go, as we please, Sadira said as she sat down on a pillow. I've seen worse, so you two are doing good, Naruto said, as he remembered his old apartment in Konoha. So, was that your first time in the marketplace? Aladdin asked curiously. This one, yes, but I have seen other ones before, and they are pretty similar, Naruto said with a shrug. It was mine, the woman with Naruto said. You're kidding, Naruto said, finding that odd. The woman looked at Naruto and quickly said, I work in the palace and don't get out a lot. Ah, you most likely work as a handmaiden for the princess, huh? Sadira asked as she leaned back on the pillow. Why, yay, I'm a handmaiden, the woman said as she gave a slightly small smile. Well, when you get back, can you please tell the princess or sultan that the guards treat us pretty bad? Sadira asked, with a sour look. Yay, we may be street rats according to the guards, but we are still people too, Aladdin said with his arms crossed. Abu nodded at this as he ate a banana. Sadira suddenly started coughing badly, and when she pulled her hand away from her mouth, they saw some blood. Aladdin rushed over to her and handed her some water from a jug. Naruto frowned seeing this. Is she okay? He asked, with a look of slight worry on his face. Aladdin frowned. No, she's been like this for a month now, and she's just getting worse, he said. Al, I'm okay, Sadira said, trying to put on a brave face for him. Aladdin looked at Sadira with a worried look and hugged her like he thought she was going to disappear right in front of him. The woman with Naruto frowned, seeing this. You okay? Naruto asked her as he placed a hand on her shoulder. I could help, but it would involve me giving up something in return, she said, with an unsure look on her face. What would you give up? Naruto asked her. The woman hesitated. Let's just say my freedom would go away, she said. Naruto tilted his head at this. Look, I don't know what's bothering you, but if you have a problem deciding to help someone, then you should ask yourself if you're a good person. And if yes, then you have your answer, he said. The woman looked at Naruto and sighed, and then smiled. You're right, you have a way with words, Naruto, she said. Thanks, I'm glad I could help you, he said with a smile. So tell me, what did you mean by giving up your freedom? He then asked her. The woman nodded, but before she could speak, they were interrupted. Here you are, a guard yelled, surprising them all. They're after me, the woman yelled in panic. Naruto looked at the guards and was about to summon his keyblade when Aladdin grabbed him and the woman and threw him and her out over the balcony. Naruto and the woman yelled as they fell, but thankfully they landed in some soft sand. Aladdin and Sadira soon followed after them, landing in the same sand pile. Let's go, Aladdin yelled as he dragged Sadira with him when he bumped into a big guard who grabbed him. We just keep running into each other, huh, street rat? The guard asked as he threw him to his fellow guards who bound him with ropes. Abu tried to stop them, but he was thrown into a pot by a guard. Let him go, Razal, Sadira yelled as she hit him, but then she started coughing again. Look at this man, a stray mouse, Razal said as he pushed Sadira to the floor. Aladdin yelled in anger seeing this as he struggled against the men holding him. Naruto was about to attack when the woman confronted Razal. Let them go now, she yelled as she took off her hood. By order of the princess, she said with authority. Razal's eyes widened seeing this, and he instantly bowed his head. Princess Jasmine, he said with respect. The princess? Aladdin and Sadira asked in surprise. Naruto was surprised seeing this, as he didn't expect the woman he saved to be a princess. Ah, a princess that wants freedom, Kirama said from his seal. That's what she meant by giving up her freedom, Naruto thought, now getting what Jasmine meant before. Why are you outside the palace, and with these street rats? Razal asked, while trying to understand why Jasmine was here. That's not your concern. Now do as I say, release them, Jasmine said with authority in her voice. I would, princess, except I take my orders from Jafar. So you have to ask him, Razal said, with a look of unease. Hold it, Naruto said, stepping forward. The Grand Vizier, right? He asked, recognizing the name. Razal nodded at Naruto, confirming he was correct. Wouldn't the princess outrank the Grand Vizier? Naruto asked, hoping his hunch was correct. Razal and the guards paused hearing this, as that was a very good point. Very well, Razal said, as he looked at his men and nodded at them to let Aladdin go. Once Aladdin was free, he ran to Sadira and hugged her tight. Anything else, princess? Razal asked, bowing his head. Yes, you will escort me and my friends back to the palace at once, Jasmine said, as she crossed her arms over her chest. Right away, your majesty, Razal said, as he and his men helped Aladdin and Sadira up off the ground. Some guards approached Naruto, but he backed up. I would like to come with you, Jasmine, but I have a quest to take care of, he said to her. Jasmine gained a look of disappointment at this. I want to see you again, she said to him. Naruto gave a nod, as he said, You will, as soon as my quest is finished, I promise, he said as he ran up a wall and ran off. Jasmine watched him go with a smile, but then turned to the guards. Let's go. My friend needs a doctor immediately, and they need a job at the palace, she said. Right away, your majesty, the guards said, as they escorted them towards the palace. Aladdin and Sadira were looking at each other in bewilderment, as they didn't think their day would go like this. Abu got out of the pot and followed after Aladdin, hoping to catch up with Naruto. Naruto was heading to the exit of the city, where he and the others agreed to meet up. He saw them waiting outside the city as he jumped off a rooftop and landed and approached them. What took you? Temari asked, as Keter ran over to Naruto wearing robes suited for desert travel. You wouldn't believe me if I told ya, Naruto said as he approached them. Well, let's go find this cave then, Kankuro said. Naruto pulled out the map Jafar gave him, but Temari snatched it from him. Leave it to me, Naruto, Temari said as she looked at the map. Naruto gave Gaara a look, as though asking why Temari took the map from him. She is good with maps, Gaara said simply. We could get there in half a day if you fly us, Gaara, Temari said, as she put away the map. He can fly us? Kita asked in fascination. Well, Tinkerbell could too if you want to save Chakra, Naruto said, as Tinkerbell poked her head out of his hair, nodding her head willing to help out however she could. Kankuro raised an eyebrow as he asked, and how exactly is she going to help, with disbelief clearly heard in his voice. Tinkerbell flew out of Naruto's hair and flew around them all, making a cloud of pixie dust appear. Suddenly they all started to fly, with the Sand siblings and Kita taken by surprise. Whoa, Kankuro said as he flailed his arms about trying to steady himself. Interesting, Gaara said, as he had never flown before without his sand helping. Wow, Temari said, as she flew around a bit feeling the wind pass through her hair. This is incredible, Kita said, in excitement as she flew with her arms stretched out. Tinkerbell smiled at this, as seeing people fly for the first time was always fun for her to see. Well, let's get going. Lead the way, Temari, Naruto said, trusting her map reading skills. Temari nodded, as she took off towards the desert with the others not far behind her. Hours later. Are we there yet? Kankuro asked, for what sounded like the billionth time. Kankuro, if you ask that again, I swear I'm gonna take your doll and break it, Temari said with a cross look. He plays with dolls, Kita asked with a smile. It's a puppet, Kankuro yelled. Kita tilted her head to one side as she asked, but aren't puppets dolls? This caused Gaara and Temari to smile at this. She's got you there, Naruto said, as Tinkerbell laughed while flying next to him. Kankuro just crossed his arms over his chest and angrily mumbled to himself. I see something, Gaara said, as they got closer to a big mound of sand. Is that a tiger head? Naruto asked, as they landed near what looked like a big tiger head sticking out of the ground. The tiger head's eyes suddenly opened, showing they were a yellow color. Who disturbs my slumber? He asked in a booming voice. Naruto stepped forward, holding his keyblade just in case of an attack. I'm Naruto. Nice to meet you, he said, not sure how to go about this. We are so dead, Kankuro said, as Kita punched his shoulder. Hush, Temari said, in a slightly scolding tone. The tiger head looked at Naruto, as if trying to see into his soul. A keyblader, it has been millennia since I have seen one. You have a pure heart. You are worthy of inheriting the treasure I guard, the tiger head said. Treasure? Naruto asked, surprised. The tiger head gave what looked like a nod, as it said, yes, for you see a millennia ago, a keyblader created me to guard a treasure trove that was causing a war in this world. I was asked to only let those that are pure enter, and to give the treasure to a keyblader. Wow, congratulations Naruto, you're rich, Kankuro said with a grin. The tiger head looked at Naruto's friends. Are these people friends? If not, I will eat them if they enter, the tiger head said, growling lightly. Naruto gave a nod as he said, don't worry, they're my friends. He then jokingly added, and I wouldn't eat Kankuro, as you don't know where he's been. Hey, Kankuro said with an unhappy look on his face, while the others had grins on theirs. Very well, I will allow them to enter, the tiger head said, as he opened his mouth wide, showing them stairs that were going down. The group entered his mouth and proceeded down the stairs. When they reached the bottom, they all had their mouths dropped in shock because they saw the largest piles of treasure they've ever seen. Holy crap, Kankuro yelled out, making an echo of his voice travel through the cave. Strike that, you're not just rich, you're filthy rich, Temari said, as she tried to look at all the treasure at once. How will you get all this out of here? Kita asked, as she picked up a finely made spear, which had some jewels encrusted in the handle, while the blade was made from a metal she couldn't identify. Well, I have seals thankfully, Naruto said, as he stepped over a carpet that had a massive treasure chest on it. The carpet then moved as Naruto stepped off of it, and tried to pull itself from under the treasure chest. Whoa, a magic carpet? Kankuro said, not expecting this as he had heard of something like this, but that was only in stories. Interesting, Gaara said, as this carpet seemed to have a personality to it. Hey there, do you need any help? Naruto asked the magic carpet. Carpet nodded what Naruto could only assume was its head to confirm that Naruto was right. Naruto smiled and gave a nod as he walked over to the big chest and lifted it off the carpet. Carpet then took off and flew around the cave in celebration at being free. "Looks like you have a friend to fly with, Tink," Naruto said with a smile to the fairy on his shoulder. Carpet then flew to Naruto and wrapped him up in a hug. Naruto laughed at this. "Well, aren't you friendly?" he said with a smile. "I'm not seeing this lamp you need, Naruto," Temari said as she looked around for the lamp. Carpet then peeled up and waved its tassels at them, trying to get their attention. "Looks like he wants us to follow him," Kokiro said. Naruto nodded and made a clone. "Start sealing up the treasure," Naruto said as he handed the clone a scroll and some ink. "On it, boss," the clone said as he gave a salute. Naruto then turned to Carpet and said, "Well, lead the way, buddy." Kankuro looked at the treasure with a sad look as he hoped to grab a few jewels and money. "If you guys each want a few handfuls, go ahead. You will most likely need it when you move to Traverse Town," Naruto said, as he didn't want his friends homeless in Traverse Town. "No need to tell me twice," Kankuro said, as he grabbed a few handfuls of treasure along with Temari. Gaara nodded at Naruto in thanks, as things had been a bit tough for them in Agrabah ever since they got here. After everyone had a full scroll, they followed Carpet deeper into the cave, and eventually they made it to a room with a large rock formation in the middle of the chamber that was surrounded by water and had rocks coming out of the water to walk on, and stone steps to climb to the top. "Stay here while I go get it," Naruto said, as he jumped from rock to rock, and eventually he got to the tall rock at the end and started to climb up it. Tinkerbell looked at Naruto, wanting to help him up the rock. "I'm fine, Tink. I like to exercise a bit," Naruto said, as he finally made it to the top. Naruto looked at the lamp and picked it up. "Wow, it looks so ordinary," he said, as he saw it was just a regular brass lamp. He looked it over, inspecting it, hoping to get a clue as to what Jafar wanted it for. "Wow, that thing is dusty," Tinkerbell said, looking at it with him. Naruto gave a nod of agreement as he jumped down to the sand siblings. Kankuro gave the lamp a look of disbelief as he said, "That's what that guy was making a big deal about? It's just an ordinary-looking lamp." "Looks can be deceiving," Gaara said, as he looked at the lamp as though trying to see inside it. "Yay, that Jafar must want this for a reason," Kita said, as taking Naruto's friends was a risky move just to get something like this. Temari took the lamp from Naruto and gave it a once-over as she said, "Looks old and useless to me." "Are there any old stories involving lamps?" Naruto asked, hoping that someone would have an answer. "Well, there's," Kankuro started, as his eyes widened in realization. "What?" Naruto asked him. Temari thought about what could silence her big brother, and finally her eyes widened too in realization. "A genie's lamp?" she asked Kankuro. He gave her a nod as he said, "It's the only possible explanation for why that guy wants it." "A what now?" Naruto asked in confusion as he looked at the lamp. "A genie is said to possess magic powers and abilities, and that they grant you 3 wishes," Temari said. Naruto looked at the lamp and raised an eyebrow. "This dusty thing?" he asked, as he dusted it off by rubbing it. Suddenly the lamp started jumping in his hands and shooting red beams of light everywhere. Naruto tried to keep it in his hands, and he was able to get a good enough grip on it that it wouldn't jump about anymore. The Sand siblings and Kita took cover as blue smoke started to shoot out of the lamp, and a giant figure came out of the smoke. "Og! Oi!" a big blue man yelled as he cracked his back and neck. 10,000 years, and you'll get such a crick in the neck," he said, looking down at Naruto as he was massive enough that he almost reached the ceiling. Are you?" Naruto was saying, until the man interrupted him. "Hold on 1 second, Whiskers," he said, as he picked Naruto up and put him on the wall to hang. He then picked up his head and twisted it around before he put it back on. "Ah, much better," he said with a pleased look on his face. "So, Whiskers, what's your name?" he then asked Naruto, as he took him off the wall and placed him back on the ground. "Naruto," he said, "and this is Tinkerbell, Kita, Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro and Carp," he was saying, before he was interrupted. "Hey, Rugman, haven't seen you in a millennia. How have you been?" the blue man asked, as he and Carpet high-fived each other. "So, are the stories true? You're a genie?" Naruto asked him, with a curious look. "Yup, introducing the one and only Genie of the Lamp," the now-named Genie said proudly. He then had copies of himself appear, and they cheered and whistled. That's right, right from the lamp. Here to grant your wish fulfillments, Genie said, imitating a talk show host. Naruto smiled at him. You're a fun guy, huh? He asked, as Genie had a funny personality. I do what I can, Genie said with a proud look. He hasn't stopped talking since he appeared, Kankuro said to Temari, clearly a little annoyed. At least he's amusing, Temari said back with a shrug. So, what's your first wish, Whiskers? Genie asked him, as he rubbed his hands together. Well, are there any rules? Naruto asked curiously, as the Genie shrunk down and sat next to him. Well, at least you asked instead of getting mad later. That's refreshing, Genie said, as most masters didn't think there would be rules. Rule number 1, I can't kill anybody. So don't ask, he said as he chopped his own head off. Rule number 2, he said as he reattached his head. I can't make any more fall in love. He then turned his head into giant lips and kissed Naruto before turning back into a head and pinched Naruto's cheek, saying, You little ponum there. Rule number 3, Genie said, as he turned green and zombie-like. I can't bring any more back from the dead. It's not a pretty picture. I don't like doing it, he yelled as he grabbed Naruto by the shirt and shook him slightly. Any rules that involve other worlds? Naruto asked, as he got loose of the Genie's hands and summoned his Keyblade to show he knew about other worlds. Ah, a Keyblader, huh? Then yes, there is a rule. No, I can't restore lost worlds, Genie said sadly, as he knew that would probably be brought up. Naruto and the Sand siblings had downcast looks, as they had hoped the Genie could fix that. Naruto sighed at this. Well, it's not your fault, rules are rules, he said. Yay. I wish I could do something. I really do, Whiskers, Genie said, as he laid a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Well, there are a few things you could do, Naruto said, as an idea came to him. Yay, like where's the keyhole, Kankuro said, as Naruto had explained how important those are. That an official wish, Catman? Genie asked with a smirk, as Naruto tossed Kankuro the lamp. Yay, lives are involved, so yay. I wish for you to show Naruto where the keyhole is, Kankuro said. Genie cracked his knuckles, as he said, An easy wish, since it's in the treasure room you passed. This surprised them, as they didn't think the keyhole would be in the same place as the lamp. Genie snapped his fingers, and a wall nearby blew up, showing the keyhole. Naruto smiled, and aimed his Keyblade at the keyhole, sealing it up for good. One wish down, only 2 left, Catman, Temari said with a smirk, as she liked Kankuro's new nickname. I'm cool now, I have my family and money. So catch Naruto, Kankuro said, as he threw the lamp back to him. He then gave Temari a scowl, saying, And you're going to call me that sometimes from now on, aren't you? She gave a nod, with a massive grin on her face, saying, Yep. Wow, that's a first, Genie said as he thought Kankuro would have wished for something for himself. Tinkerbell pulled on Naruto's hair to get his attention. Oh, what is it, Tink? Naruto said, as he rubbed where she pulled. Can I have a wish? She asked hopefully. Of course, Tink. Genie, does Tink qualify for wishes? Naruto asked, as Tinkerbell flew out of his hair and gave Genie a hopeful look. She's sentient, and I can hear her. So, let's hear it, little miss, Genie said with a smile. Tinkerbell flew to Genie's ear and whispered something into his ear. Makes sense. I can see why you would want that as a fairy, Genie said with a smile, as he zapped Tink with a gold beam of magic. Naruto and the others watched as Tinkerbell grew to full human size. Yes, Tinkerbell yelled out happily as she tackled Naruto into a hug and rubbed her cheek against his. Is this permanent? Naruto asked with a smile at the fact that Tinkerbell was happy. Well, she can be this size and go back to fairy size with just a thought. She can make her wings disappear too, if she wants, Genie said, as he handed Tinkerbell a pamphlet that explained about her new ability. My turn, Naruto said, holding up the lamp as he had a great idea. Genie cracked his knuckles, showing he was ready to do this. I wish the friends of mine that Jafar has captured were here with me right now, Naruto said with a smile at getting one over on Jafar. Genie raised his hands in the air and brought them down as beams of light left his fingers, and a massive poof of smoke appeared next to Naruto. They then heard coughing, as when the smoke cleared, Naruto saw all his friends were here and completely unharmed. Where the hell are we? Logan asked as he looked around, as the last thing he remembered was that they were about to leave Atlantis. Ooh, shiny, Stitch yelled as he ran at a mountain of treasure that the clone of Naruto was trying to seal up. Hey, back off, the clone yelled as Stitch dived into the treasure and swam through it. Naruto, explanation please, Lulu said, with her hands on her hips. Whoa, Tink, is that you? Tifa asked as she looked at Tinkerbell's new look as a full-sized human. Yup, not a shrimp anymore, thanks to the genie we found, Tinkerbell said, as everyone did a double take on what she said. Genie, they yelled in shock, before they all noticed the blue floating man in the chamber, which caused them to drop their jaws in shock. Interesting friends you have, Naruto, Gaara said, as he could tell they were strong fighters. Why are they mostly women? You go horndog on us? Kankuro asked with a laugh. Temari slapped the back of his head while shaking her own at her brother's behavior. Hey, I can't help who I befriend, Naruto yelled, feeling offended. Who else wants a wish? Genie asked them all. Beast snatched up the lamp and looked at Genie. I wish the princesses that Maleficent and her team took were back in Traverse Town, he yelled out. Genie clapped his hands together, but then his eyes widened in surprise as he felt something shocking. Something was blocking his magic from working, and he could tell that it was stronger than his own. Sorry, but some sorcerer is blocking my magic from doing that, Genie said with a frown. It must be someone who's using darkness to amplify their magic, as Genie magic is pretty limited against darkness, he said. Damn it, Beast yelled out, as he threw his head back and gave a roar of anger. You have a location of this place? Helen asked. That I can do, but I need a place to put the information, Genie said to her. Helen grabbed the lamp and said, Then I wish that Mando's ship was outside this cave. Genie nodded, as he had an idea of what she was thinking. Outside the cave. Wow, nice ship, Kankuro said, as he looked over the Razor Crest. Thanks, Mando said, as Grogu looked at Kankuro with interest. Okay, I'm putting the location of the area where those captured princesses are in your information banks, to make up for the blocked wish, Genie said, as he was really unhappy he couldn't make the wish come true. Shigo took the lamp from Naruto and pondered about what wish to make. Go ahead, Shigo, I trust ya, Naruto said with a smile. Shigo hesitated, as she knew if she made the wish she wanted, Maleficent would retaliate. But she didn't have it in her to betray Naruto now. I wish my brothers and any survivors from my world were in Traverse Town, she said with a determined look. Genie nodded as he snapped his fingers. It's done. You're lucky your brothers were stuck in the void between worlds, but they made it to Traverse Town now, Genie told her. Shigo smiled at this in relief, as she was now free from Maleficent, as she didn't have her brothers now to use as leverage against her. Naruto smiled at this, as he knew Shigo had a soft side to her no matter how hard she tried to hide it. I have a great idea, he said, as he took the lamp back from Shigo. Remember, Whiskers, you have 2 wishes left, so you better make them count, Shigo told him. Don't worry, this one will be one for the ages, Naruto said. I wish that all survivors of the Heartless destroying their worlds who are not evil would show up in Traverse Town with no exceptions, he said with a determined look. Genie laughed at this. Now that's a big wish, as that's a lot of people and it's a permanent wish. You want this to exclude anyone helping a Keyblader? He asked, as he was sure Naruto wanted his friends to stay with him. Oh yay, thanks Genie, Naruto said. No problem, Genie said, before he nodded and started charging magic in his hands. Get ready, Traverse Town, cause you're going from a town to a nation, he yelled out with a smile, as he fired his magic into the air. You were kidding, right? Lightning said, as a nation was massive. Fraid not, little lady, Genie said, as he made a big crystal ball appear. Take a look for yourself, he said with a smile, as they all looked at it. Lightning gasped, as Traverse Town was now massive, and it had all kinds of different environments now too. Look at all the people appearing, Garnet said with a smile, as different people were appearing in Traverse Town in flashes of light. Lilo, Nanny, Jumba, Pleakley, Stitch yelled, jumping in excitement, as he saw his Ohana appear in Traverse Town. Logan looked, and saw something that made him happy for the first time in a long while. Heroes from his world were showing up in Traverse Town. the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the Defenders, the Inhumans, and what he hoped for most of all, the X-Men. Mando looked and saw Ahsoka, who was still in her hood, but she had a smile on her face as she felt the Force telling her what happened just now. He also noticed Bo-Katan and her group, the Night Owls, going over to Ahsoka, with the two gripping each other's forearm in greeting. Tifa and Lulu looked and saw their friends from home who were chatting with each other, obviously wondering what happened. Lightning looked and saw something that made her genuinely smile. Her sister Sarah and her friends were in Traverse Town now. Shigo saw her brothers and Kim and her friends and family appeared and smiled as she hoped this would make up for her world being destroyed at least a little bit. Beast looked and saw his castle was now in Traverse Town, and he saw that his servants were in the castle, and they were cleaning the castle, most likely waiting for him and Belle to return. He also saw Belle's father there, and that he was helping out where he could. Oh, looks like Jessica is getting overwhelmed a bit, Naruto said, as they saw Jessica in her office, as she was trying to calm her staff down, so they could get everything under control. Thankfully, her staff were listening to her, as she directed them to help those arriving to either find a house to live in or somewhere to build one. Gaara and the others looked into the ball, and saw Ninja from their world arriving. "Hey sis, look, it's your boyfriend," Kankuro said, with a teasing smirk seeing Shikamaru arrive with some Konoha ninja. Temari gave a glare to Kankuro, but looked at the ball and smiled in relief that Shikamaru was okay. "Man, that's the first wish in a long time that actually winded me," Genie said as he panted slightly. "You have no idea how much this means to all of us." "Thank you so much," Naruto said as he bowed his head at Genie, with the others doing the same. "Is there anything we can do to thank you?" Kita asked him. Genie tapped his chin in thought. "Well, there is one thing," he said. "My freedom from the lamp," he told them. "No problem, buddy," Naruto said as he held up the lamp. "Wait. We should wait until we can take care of Jafar, as this world is still not safe yet," Lightning said as she crossed her arms. "So we use Genie as bait?" Naruto asked with a frown, as he didn't want to put their new friend in danger. "It is risky," Logan said with his arms crossed. "But if it means taking down the bad guy, it's worth it." "Yay, plus you have more wishes left that you may need, so I can wait a little longer for my freedom," Genie said with a smile, as he could tell Naruto was genuine in wanting to free him. "We may have a problem getting into the palace though," Temari said. "That's true," Gaara said with a nod. "Yay. The guards won't let you in, unless you're a friend of the royal family and can prove it, or you're a prince trying to marry the princess," Kankuro said with an unhappy look. Hearing this made Shigo grin, as she took the lamp from Naruto. "Oh God, what are you thinking?" Helen asked, not liking her smirk. Shigo just gave Helen a smile, as she said, "I wish that Naruto was a prince." This got surprised looks from the women and the Sand siblings. "Oh Lord, here we go," Logan said as he facepalmed, as he had a good idea what Shigo was thinking. Naruto was the most surprised, as he gave Shigo a look saying, "I hope that you have a very good plan." "Yup, you get us into the palace, we get proof Jafar is evil and expose him to the Sultan," she said with a huge grin. "That's a really good plan actually," Mando said as he gave a nod. "Indeed," Lightning said, with her nodding in agreement. Genie cracked his knuckles and wiggled his fingers as he was getting ready. "Regular price or warrior prince?" he asked. Shigo looked at Naruto as she gave it some thought. "Warrior, or I walk," Naruto said flatly, as he still had some pride. "Fine, a warrior prince ya big baby," Shigo said, while pinching Naruto's cheek amused at him. "Well, you have treasure so all you need is servants, and a good outfit," Genie said looking at Naruto's friends. "I'm not liking this plan anymore," Lightning said, as she had a bad feeling about this. "Oh relax, and lighten up a little would ya," Tifa told her. Genie charged some magic and zapped Naruto's friends, making a puff of smoke appear around them all. Logan, Mando Beast, Gaara and Kankuro were in regal outfits fitting of being escorts or bodyguards. Stitch had a collar, and Grogu was unaffected. The ladies on the other hand. "This is bullshit," Lulu yelled in embarrassed rage, as all of the women were dressed in different colored harem girl outfits. Shigo was giving Genie a glare as she said, "I'm already starting to plan your death." So as soon as you're free from that lamp, run as fast as you can." Genie gulped, happy he was most likely immortal, even if he was free, but he didn't want to find out. "I feel like a cheap floozy," Tifa complained, looking at her outfit. "I don't know, I kinda like it," Helen said with a smile. "Me too," Tinkerbell said, excited as she had never had new clothes before. "Oh please, this is no different from your skin-tight suit," Lightning complained, not wanting to hear it from Helen. "I don't see what the big deal is," Kita said, as this wasn't much worse than her regular outfit. Garnet was atomic red from embarrassment, as she'd never worn something so revealing before in her life. "There is no way in hell that I'm gonna wear this," Temery said in a rage, as she crossed her arms angrily. "Relax, nobody who matters will judge you," Kankuro said. He then had a teasing smile appear on his face, as he added, "And I bet if Shikamaru saw you in that, you wouldn't mind one bit." Temery glared at Kankuro. "One more word, and they won't find your body," she promised him. "On Naruto?" Gaara asked, looking at Naruto. Naruto was looking up at the ceiling, avoiding eye contact with the woman, as this was pushing his built-up immunity to women to its limit. "Let's just get Whiskers a new outfit, so we can end this already," Logan said, while rolling his eyes at Naruto. Genie smiled as he approached Naruto. "Okay kid, let's make you royalty ready. I'm gonna make you a star," he yelled out, before he hit Naruto with multicolored magic from his hands. With Jafar hours later. "I can't believe this," Jafar yelled in a rage, as his prisoners were gone and the princess was undermining him now with the guards. "Yay, almost likely that kid figured out the lamp's secret and wished his friends free," a red parrot said from a perch in Jafar's room. "I am well aware of that possibility, Iago," Jafar growled out as he started pacing. "Yay mad with how many friends he has with him, multiply that by 3, that equals you having a bad day," Iago said. "Shut up," Jafar yelled, as he was at his wit's end. Suddenly they heard some music outside in the city, which caused them to go to the window. "This a new prince trying to woo the princess?" Iago guessed. "Most likely," Jafar said, not at all interested. "But we may as well go to the Sultan, to tell him of the new arrival." "Yuck crackers again," Iago said in disgust, as he would most likely have to eat more of those. Jafar headed for the royal chamber, with Iago close behind. "Your Majesty, we seem to have an unannounced prince approaching the palace," Jafar said, as he approached the throne and the Sultan. "Oh, that's wonderful," the Sultan said with a smile, as he ran to the window to take a look. They saw what looked like a prince on a magic carpet flying slightly above his group of escorts, as what appeared to be harem girls dancing around below him, as the prince flew around on his magic carpet. "Father, what's going on?" Jasmine asked as Aladdin and Sadira approached the window. "It seems a new prince is here," the Sultan said to his daughter. "Great," Jasmine said, clearly not in the mood for another pompous prince. Aladdin took out a mini telescope and took a look at the prince in question. Guys, you may want to see this," he said with a shocked but happy look on his face, as he passed the telescope to Sadira. Sadira took the telescope offered to her and took a look before she smiled. "What is it?" Jasmine asked, as she took the telescope from Sadria and took a look. She then saw who was on the magic carpet, flying around throwing gold coins to the people of Agrabah, who were all eagerly trying to catch as many as they could. It was Naruto, who was in royal clothes, but it was obviously Naruto, as she recognized his blonde hair and his whisker marks. "Naruto," Jasmine said in shock, as she put down the telescope. Jafar froze upon hearing this, as he thought, "That brat is heading here to settle things with me." And he used a wish to make himself a prince, so he can enter the palace without being stopped by that fool's guards. "You know this prince?" the Sultan asked Jasmine, with hope clearly heard in his voice. Jasmine nodded. "Yes, he's the friend that I made in the city I told you about." "The one who saved you from getting in trouble, my dear, with a merchant?" the Sultan asked, while giving her a look. "Yes, I had no idea he was a prince though," Jasmine said, as they left the window to go to the doors. The doors opened, and Naruto's friends entered. Introducing the Prince of Traverse Town, Naruto Uzumaki, a disguised genie announced, before giving a bow as Naruto entered the room. "Greetings, Your Majesty," Naruto said, as he bowed his head at the Sultan. He then turned to look at Jasmine. "Hello, Jasmine." "Nice to see you again," he said with a smile, before he took her hand and kissed the back of it lightly. Jasmine smiled at this, as she was glad Naruto was here as promised. "I have heard what you did to help my daughter, Prince Naruto, and I must say it's refreshing to meet a prince who cares about regular people," the Sultan said with a pleased grin. "So, what brings you to Agrabah?" Naruto looked at Jafar. "Ask your Grand Vizier, as he'd asked me to come," he said with a grin, at the fact that Jafar was sweating. "What do you mean?" the Sultan asked with a raised eyebrow. "That jerk kidnapped us, so Naruto would have to do what he says," Tinkerbell yelled out, as she gave Jafar a glare. "Is this true?" the Sultan asked, while looking at Jafar with a frown. Jafar glared at Naruto with absolute loathing. "I bet you feel pretty smart, don't you?" he growled out through bared teeth. "Yeah, pretty much. And I was a pretty dumb kid at school too," Naruto said, as he summoned his Keyblade and took a defensive stance just in case. This caused the others' clothes to instantly turn back to normal, as they too got ready if Jafar did something. Jafar raised his cane and stomped it in the ground, summoning a swarm of Heartless. They looked like Arabia soldiers, with similar swords, while some Heartless were big bodies that were breathing fire. "Destroy them," Jafar ordered the Heartless as they attacked. "Protect Jasmine and her father," Naruto yelled, as it was most likely that Jafar would go for her, and if not her, then her father, to force them to cooperate. Kita, Lightning, Logan and Shigo nodded and ran towards Aladdin, Sadira, Jasmine and her father. Tinkerbell was in her fairy form, flying around some soldier Heartless, and she was slugging them in their weak points, like Tifa had taught her. This caused the Heartless to fall to the ground, with them all in pain as Helen and Stitch finished them off. Stitch was blasting some Heartless with the blasters Kita gave him, laughing maniacally as his blasters cut through them easily. "By Lizarga," Lulu yelled, firing a massive ice spell at the fire-spewing big-body Heartless, making giant icicles hit them. "Haste," Garnet yelled out, making her friends move and react faster, since the Heartless just kept on coming. "These things just keep coming," Tifa yelled, as she slugged a Heartless in the head, instantly killing it. "Let them come," Beast roared, as he slashed through a group of Heartless, killing them. "Naruto, throw me the lamp so I can end this," Lulu yelled, as she was running dry on stamina from all her spells. "Good idea," Naruto said, pulling the lamp out and throwing it to Lulu. But before she could catch it, Iago flew by and snatched it. "Got it, Jafar," Iago yelled proudly, as he flew to the sorcerer and dropped the lamp in his hands. Jafar had a maniacal grin on his face. "Finally, at long last, how long I've waited for this moment," he said as the genie appeared in his normal form next to him. "Not good," Mando said, as he blasted a Heartless with his gun, before firing missiles at a group of them. "No matter what you wish, you can't win. You're just a second-rate magician, facing a mad keybaiter and his team," Jasmine yelled at him. Jafar growled at being called second-rate, until he had a great idea and smiled evilly. "Second-rate, huh?" he asked, as he held up the lamp and looked at Genie. "I wish I was an all-powerful genie," he shouted out. "Oh hell," Logan said, with a look of worry on his face. The genie frowned, as he zapped Jafar, who then started to change and grow into a big red genie. "Yes, the power," he yelled in joy, before he broke through the ceiling. "The absolute power," he shouted out, as he did some genie magic in the sky. "Get his lamp," Genie yelled, as a black lamp appeared at the end of his smoke tail. Naruto ran towards the lamp, but Iago grabbed it before flying off. "Shit, get that lamp," Naruto yelled out to his friends. Gaara nodded, as him and his siblings and some of the others ran after Iago, leaving Kita, Lulu, Garnet, Tinkerbell, and Lightning with Naruto. "You think you have a chance against an all-powerful genie?" Jafar yelled, as he cackled with his arms raised high. "We don't need to beat you," Naruto said, as he looked at Garnet and nodded. "We just need to distract you," Garnet said, as she started to glow with power. "Not so fast, summoner," Jafar yelled, as he reached out to grab Garnet. "Flare!" Lulu yelled, as a massive flare of heat burned the face of Jafar. Jafar grabbed his face in pain, as he yelled out, "Ah! God of all dragons, I invoke your name, Bahamut," Garnet yelled, as a massive flash of light appeared. From the bright light appeared a giant purple dragon. He had what looked like claws on the tips of his wings, sharp horns coming from his head, powerful-looking claws, and a strong-looking tail. "Now that's a dragon," Naruto said, slightly intimidated, as Bahamut growled at Jafar menacingly. Kita looked at Bahamut and silently prayed that it wouldn't turn on them. "You think I'm afraid of some so-called dragon god? I am an all-powerful genie, which means that I can fight anything you'll throw at me," Jafar said with a mad grin. Bahamut growled at the insult to his pride, as he hated that very much. "Tear him apart," Garnet yelled out, feeling Bahamut's rage. Bahamut roared and flew up out of the palace towards Jafar and tackled him, which caused a loud boom noise to happen. "Let's go back him up," Naruto yelled, looking at Tinkerbell, who nodded and flew around Naruto, Kita, Lulu, Lighting, and Garnet, causing them to fly, and they charged at Jafar, who was struggling to get Bahamut off of him, as he had his tail around his neck and he was trying to bite Jafar, who was holding him back. "Meteor," Lulu yelled, as a bunch of mini meteors flew at Jafar, hitting him, making him start to struggle to keep Bahamut back. "Haste," Garnet yelled, speeding up her friends' speed and reaction time as they did hit and run attacks on Jafar. Jafar finally yelled as he zapped Bahamut, making him back off. Naruto flew at him and slashed at Jafar's face, but it barely did anything to him at all. "Damn, I hope the others can catch that damn parrot soon," Lightning said, as this wasn't going to be easy. With the others. "Someone catch stupid that bird," Helen yelled, as she and the others chased Iago around Agrabah. "Back off, you losers," Iago squawked, as he dodged Helen's stretching hands, as she tried to grab Jafar's lamp from him. "Nagaland Cuesta," Stitch yelled, as he threw fruit from a stand at Iago, hoping to hit him. "Hey, that's my fruit you're using," the vendor yelled after Stitch, as they continued to chase Iago. "Come here, you little," Shigo yelled, firing a few plasma blasts at Iago, hoping that one of them would burn one of his wings enough that he wouldn't be able to fly. "Aren't you supposed to be, Yoich?" Iago yelled, as he barely dodged a plasma blast. Tifa suddenly had an idea. She grabbed Stitch and used all her strength to throw him at Iago. "Yee-ha!" Stitch yelled, as he flew towards Iago with his arm out in front of him. Stitch was flying so fast, he crashed into Iago, and they both crashed into a vendor's stand. "Quickly, grab that lamp before he recovers," Beast yelled, as they all ran towards the destroyed stand. "Let me go, I'm not a chew toy," Iago yelled as he tried to hit Stitch with his wings and talons, as Stitch had him in his claws. Logan picked up Jafar's lamp. "Bind and gag that bird for now. We need to get this lamp back to the palace and help Naruto," he said, as the others nodded in agreement. With Naruto. Naruto and the others were still fighting Jafar, and no matter what they did, Jafar was unaffected. Bahamut head-butted Jafar, ramming his horns into his chest. "Ag!" Jafar yelled in pain, as even though he couldn't die, he still felt the pain. Bahamut backed off and started breathing fire and shot some fireballs at Jafar. Naruto and Lulu sent their own fire spells at Jafar, along with Bahamut's, hoping to do something to him. The fireballs hit Jafar and made a wall of smoke as they hit him. Naruto and his friends waited for the smoke to clear, hoping this did something to the manic genie. Before the smoke cleared, Jafar's hand shot out and grabbed Kita. "Ha! I will enjoy killing each of you one by one," Jafar yelled, as he looked at Kita as he slowly started to crush her. Kita fought through the pain and took her new spear and stabbed Jafar in the eye. "Thundagra!" Lulu and Lightning yelled, firing their lightning spells at the spear that was still in Jafar's eye. "Og!" Jafar yelled, as he let Kita go and held his hands to his face, as blood flowed from his eye. "Kita!" Naruto yelled, as he caught her in his arms. "Knew that spear was special," Kita said with a smile, while wincing as the pain was still fresh. "Kuraga!" Garnet yelled, as she flew over and healed Kita back to full health. "That's it! I'm gonna turn this world into dust!" Jafar yelled in pure rage, as he raised his hands into the air. "Naruto!" Logan yelled, as he threw Jafar's lamp to him. Naruto caught the lamp and looked at Jafar with a grin. "Okay, Jafar, back in your lamp," he yelled, pointing the lamp at him. "Never!" Jafar yelled, as he tried to fly away. Jafar's cuffs started glowing, and his lamp started sucking him towards it. "What is happening to me?" Jafar yelled in fear, as he grabbed at the air as though that would save him. One rule you may have forgotten, Jafar. A genie must obey the one holding his lamp. No exceptions, Lightning said with a triumphant smirk. And from what I have heard, it's pretty cramped in there, Naruto said with a victorious smirk. I will not forget this, boy. I will make you suffer somehow, Jafar yelled, as he was sucked into the lamp. Keep telling yourself that, and it might come true, Tinkerbell said sarcastically. Bahamut growled in satisfaction that the battle was won. Thank you, Garnet said to the dragon god, as he nodded and disappeared in a flash of light. Naruto and his friends flew down to the others in the palace, and he was tackled into a hug by Jasmine. Naruto laughed as he hugged her back. Sorry about your palace, he said looking at her. Relax, Whiskers. We can fix that easily, Shigo said, as she picked up Genie's lamp and let him out. So, did we win? He asked everyone. Naruto held up Jafar's lamp with a smile, as he said, Yeah, we did. Genie had a smile on his face. Good job. You stood up to a genie on a rampage and came out alive and on top, he said. Well, it's not like that idiot could kill us anyway. Remember rule number 1, Kankuro said with a smile. Wow, so he couldn't kill us no matter what he did, Temari said in realization. Genie nodded, as he said, even if he'd hit you with a full-powered spell, it would only have felt really painful. You would be surprised what you can live through. Shigo held up the lamp. Let's get some wishes over and done with, so we can leave this desert world, she said. Jasmine frowned hearing this, as she didn't want her new friends to leave. Don't worry, you can visit me in Traverse Town anytime you want, Naruto said, as Garnet made the visitors seal near the throne. Your kingdom? Jasmine asked. Well, not exactly, Naruto said, as he rubbed the back of his head. Actually, kid, technically thanks to the green skin over there, Shigo scowling at him for the nickname wishing you a prince. Technically, you're now the Prince of Traverse Town, Genie said, as he was fixing the place thanks to a wish from Shigo. Oh great, just what I need, Naruto said, as he crossed his arms over his chest, as he didn't think he'd actually become a prince. That fool Jafar not only lost the princess from his world, but now he's made it so that boy has a town of people who lost their worlds, who if he organizes them, they could be a massive threat, the Horned King said, not happy with this turn of events at all. Maleficent gave a nod, with a scowl on her face. Looks like Sasuke was right. This boy is practically a magnet for causing us trouble, along with gaining allies, she said. If he meets up with the new residents of Traverse Town, we will have lots of problems, Dr. Fastlier said, as he looked at the future of his team with his fortune cards, and saw only darkness for his teammates. Also, your little spy now has no incentive to obey you now, Hades said, looking at Maleficent with an unhappy look on his face. I couldn't prepare for a genie's magic, you blue-faced, flame-haired moron. We are lucky we didn't lose the princesses we already have, Maleficent said, as she started to pace trying to think of a plan. Yes, we are lucky. I sealed their cells, so that won't happen, the Horned King said, glad he was cautious with the princesses they gathered. Hook stepped forward. I believe it is time that I went to this Traverse Town and brought this Naruto to us, so we can end this before he's strong enough to defeat us, he said. Good idea, Captain. We have some allies in Traverse Town you can use to try and get to him, Maleficent said with an evil grin. Those Beagle Boys aren't that useful though, Hades said with his arms crossed. They have their uses, Hades. Hopefully they can provide Hook with the information he needs to succeed in taking Naruto without anyone noticing, Maleficent said. Yay, if they can focus on something else that doesn't involve stealing from that old duck, Hades said with a frown. How are we going to distract his friends? Dr. Fastlier asked. Hook smiled at this as he had an idea. Easy, I'll plant the seeds of doubt in them, he said, looking at the image of Shigo, and started laughing. With Naruto. Naruto and his friends were getting ready to leave, but Naruto had something to settle before he left. Okay, is everyone done with making wishes? Naruto asked, as he held up Genie's lamp. Yeah, I got the ship's armor and weapons upgraded thanks to Genie, Mando said, sounding happy. Yay, and I wished for something that will be useful for you, Whiskers, Lightning said, as she handed a book to Naruto. What's this? He asked, while holding up the book. It's an index about the Keyblade. Everything you need to know about the Keyblade, including techniques, past users, everything you need to know so you can get stronger with it, Genie said proudly, with his hands on his hips. Naruto looked at the index and saw that it was indeed what Genie said, as he saw a few pictures of past Keybladers, and some were animal people too in addition to humans. There's King Mickey, Tifa said, looking at the index over Naruto's shoulder as she pointed to a picture of King Mickey. Is Naruto in there? Tinkerbell asked Tifa, while in her human form. Yay, he's right here. It says he's one of the newest Keybladers, and the first one from his world after the Sage of Six Paths, Tifa said, as she read the description under Naruto's picture. Naruto handed the book to Tifa, so her and Tinkerbell could read some more, and he approached Genie and held up the lamp. You do realize your friends have wishes left, right, Whiskers? Genie asked, as he knew wishes could help him a lot with his journey. You have done enough to help me, Genie, and I wish you free, Naruto said with a smile. The lamp glowed before it released some smoke from its spout, which went around Genie for a few moments before it disappeared and Genie's cuffs came off. The lamp flickered for a moment before it fell to the ground. The Genie looked down at the lamp and picked it up. He laughed lightly. I'm free, he said, slightly in disbelief. He then rushed to Naruto and handed the lamp to him. Quick wish for something crazy, wish for the Nile. Try that, he said, before he turned away from Naruto and closed his eyes. I wish for the Nile, Naruto said, as he shrugged his shoulders. No way, Genie yelled in his face, but then started laughing hard. He then started zipping around in joy as he bounced off the walls, ceiling, and floor. Boy, did that feel good. I'm free, he yelled as he heaved Stitch and hugged him tightly. He then started packing a suitcase full of clothes and a few other things. Free at last. I'm hitting the road. I'm gonna go see everything. He said as he stopped to look at Naruto, who was smiling happily at his friend. I'm glad you're happy, buddy. I hope you will keep in touch at least, Naruto said to him. Of course I will, Naruto. After all, we are pals, right? He asked with a big smile. Of course, Naruto said, as he and Genie fist bumped. Suddenly, Naruto's Keyblade appeared in his hand, with a new form. 3 wishes Naruto heard in his head. What's this one do? Lightning asked curiously, as she looked at Tifa and Tinkerbell, who leafed through the index to find the new form of Naruto's Keyblade. According to the Keyblade Index, it allows Naruto to manipulate sand and use illusions that are similar to mirages, Tifa said. Looks like Naruto is stealing your bit, little bro, Kankuro said with a grin at Gaara. I'm still the master of sand, but if Naruto wants any tips, then I could give him a few tips since sand is tricky, Gaara said. We can discuss this later. Let's get going. I want to get back to Traverse Town to see what changed, Logan said. Hold on, here Whiskers, Genie said, handing Naruto a charm that looked like his old lamp. Use that to summon me if you need me to help with something. My power may be very limited now, but I can be helpful, he said with a smile. Thanks, Genie, Naruto said, as he pocketed the charm and went to his friends, as they all beamed up to Mando's ship. I suppose I should stop those princes visiting? The Sultan asked, with a happy grin at Jasmine. I would say so, Aladdin said with a smile, as Abu and Carpet were nodding in agreement. Quiet you, Sidera said with a smile. Yes, dear, Aladdin said as he gave her a grin. Jasmine looked at the sky with a smile, as she knew she could visit Naruto soon. With Naruto. So, how long will it take to get back to Traverse Town? Naruto asked Mando, who was looking over the upgraded ship's monitors. About 5 minutes, Mando said. Logan whistled impressively. Wow, Genie may be goofy, but he does good work, he said as that was way faster than before. Yay, he upgraded everything on the ship. From the important to the mundane, Mando said, impressed. I can't wait to get back to Traverse Town, so we can see how it's changed thanks to my wish, Naruto said with a grin. Ohana, Stitch yelled in excitement at seeing his family again. Hopefully there are no problems with the town getting bigger, Tifa said, with her fingers mentally crossed. Keep hoping. The bigger a place, the more trouble it attracts, Lightning said. Before we get to Traverse Town, me and the other girls need to talk to you, Naruto, Lulu said. Naruto nodded and followed the girls to another room. So what's up? He asked them. It's about this harem thing, Tifa said, getting Naruto's attention. What about it? Naruto asked, sounding nervous. Relax, Whiskers. We decided that before we decide to do this harem thing, we want to spend time with you a bit, Lightning said. We don't spend time together now? Naruto asked, as he tilted his head to the side. The girls sighed at this, while shaking their heads at how smart yet clueless he is at the summertime. We mean, we want to go on dates with you, Tinkerbell said, as she crossed her arms over her chest. Naruto blushes a bit at this. Okay, sure, but be aware I have never been on a date before, he said while rubbing his head in embarrassment. You're kidding, Lulu said, thinking this was a joke. Naruto shook his head, confirming he wasn't kidding one bit. Tifa sighed and walked forward. Well then, we can teach you. Then hopefully we can get a few dates in when we get to Traverse Town, she said. Suddenly they heard Mando's voice as the door to the cockpit opened. Guys, you may want to take a look at this, he said. They all went back into the spaceport and saw Traverse Town from afar, but they saw that it was way bigger, and it had big buildings now. They saw a big building at the docks of Traverse Town that said Hammerhead Spaceport. They then heard a familiar female voice over the speakers. Hey, is that you, Whiskers? The female voice said. Naruto pushes a button so he could speak over the intercom. Yay, it's me. That you, Cindy? He asked. Yup, that's me, Sugar. Welcome back. And I hope that you don't have plans, as I'm wanting to go on that date you promised me, Cindy said. Naruto nodded. I remember, but where do we park the ship now? He asked, as the docks was gone and in its place was the Hammerhead Spaceport. Hold on, darlin'. The town has gone through some security changes, so all ships entering and leaving have to go through my spaceport before they can land, she said apologetically to him. Wow, Jessica has whipped this place into shape, huh? Tifa asked, as security was a big problem before with all the Heartless before. Yay, this stark and strange guy helped set up the city to keep Heartless from roaming freely. Just wait a minute, while I have your ship brought in with our tractor beam, Cindy said to them. You have a tracker beam to bring in ships now? Mando asked, with a raised eyebrow under his helmet. Yay, one of my new workers built it. Hold on, hey Gadget, we have visitors, bring them in, Cindy yelled to someone. They heard what sounded like a mouse squeaking in agreement over the intercom. Suddenly, a beam of light started bringing the ship into the spaceport. Well, let's go greet Cindy and see what Traverse Town is like now, Naruto said with an excited tone. Hammerhead Spaceport? Now this is a spaceport, Mando said, actually impressed as he saw all kinds of ships docked and being given maintenance. I would hope so. I wouldn't want the mayor to get mad after I practically begged for this job, Cindy said as she approached them. Welcome to the Hammerhead Spaceport, she said proudly, with her arms spread out. Pretty impressive, Mando said, while looking around. Who do you have helping you? He asked her. Who don't I have helping me? I swear, it's like new townspeople are appearing with every breath I take, Cindy said. Blame Whiskers here, Logan said with a smirk at Naruto. What he do? Cindy asked with a raised eyebrow, while crossing her arms over her chest. One explanation later, and Cindy was smiling at Naruto in joy. Whiskers, you are too nice for your own good, you know that, she said. Suddenly 2 chipmunks ran over and started jumping in front of Cindy, trying to get her attention. You keep pets now? Tifa asked with a curious look. The chipmunks looked insulted at this, as they gave Tifa an angry look. These 2 are part of my pit crew now, along with their friends, Gadget, Zipper, and Monterey Jack, Cindy explained. How good could animals be at being a pit crew? Mando asked, with curiosity in his voice. Cindy smiled as she said, You'd be surprised. Try me, Mando said as he crossed his arms. Gadget is the one who built the tractor beam, Cindy said, while pointing at a little female mouse in a jumpsuit and goggles who was working nearby on a table. The little mouse looked up hearing her name and waved at the group with some of them waving back. Ohana, Stitch yelled, getting impatient as he wanted to meet his friends and family. Oh right, is there a way for us all to find out where friends of ours are? Naruto asked. As with Traverse Town being so huge, it would probably be hard to find someone specific. Cindy smiled at this. Yay, Jessica had that Stark guy set up a place where you can look up where people are, as long as you have their name, she said to everyone. Leave it to Stark to have the tech to set that up, Logan said with a grin, while shaking his head slightly. Who's this Stark? Helen asked curiously, as Logan didn't praise a lot of people. He's a tech genius from my world, along with being a hero named Iron Man, Logan explained. What's his power? Helen asked, as she was always curious about new heroes and meeting them. According to him, being a billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, Cindy said with a scoff. How's that a power? Helen asked in disbelief. Cindy gave a shrug, as she replied, I have no idea. Well, let's go into town. Don't worry, Cindy, we are going to be here a few days, a week at least, Naruto said, as he knew she wanted her date. Good. See you soon, Whiskers, Cindy said, as she watched them leave. They all started to head towards the exit into town, when Naruto felt a tug on his leg and saw Chip and Dale. Naruto leaned down and looked at them as he channeled Sage Chakra into his ears so he could hear them. What do you need, little guys? He asked with a smile. We came with a message for Naruto Uzumaki from the mayor, Chip said. Oh, really? Well, that's me, Naruto said, as he pointed a thumb at himself. She wants you to see her right away. She needs to talk to you, Dale said. Naruto nodded hearing this, as it made sense Jessica would want to see him after his wish. Okay, thanks you too. Here, for your trouble, he said, handing them each a gold coin. Oh boy, this is enough for a bunch of snacks, Dale yelled out, as he ran off with his coin. Wait for me, Chip yelled, running after his friend, so he wouldn't waste his money on just junk food. Naruto smiled watching the two chipmunks run off. What was that about? Beast asked curiously. Oh, I can understand animals. They had a message for me. Jessica wants to see me, Naruto said. Want us to come with you? Tinkerbell asked. No, you all need a break. So go and enjoy the town. And go find some old friends. You all deserve that, Naruto said, as he gave them all a smile. They all nodded, as they all went into the city with Naruto heading off to see what Jessica wanted. Naruto was walking through Traverse Town, looking at so many of the new arrivals. And while he was glad to know he had saved so many lives, he also felt sad and angry for how many worlds the Heartless had destroyed, and he feared that it may grow worse over time. Man, things have gotten so crazy around here since we've been gone. I don't think I remember where's what, Naruto said as he looked, taking notice of several new buildings and stores. Yup, I'm definitely lost, Naruto said, hanging his head as he unintentionally bumped into someone falling on his butt. Oh, Naruto groaned as he rubbed his rear end. Like, would you watch where you're going? A girl said. She was wearing a pink long-sleeved sweater over a cream-colored undershirt, light blue caprice with an orange stripe on each pant leg, and brown sandals. Sorry about that, Naruto said, as he helped her up. Kitty, you all right? Another girl said with a southern tone, walking up to them causing Naruto to blush. She was wearing a sheer long-sleeved green blouse over a black halter top, a short black leather skirt, and black leggings. She was also wearing thick combat boots and croakers round her neck and wrists and black gloves on her hands. Yeah, I'm good, Rogue, Kitty said as she dusted herself off. Sorry, things have changed since I was last here. It's hard to find my way around now, Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. Wait a minute, aren't you Naruto? Rogue said. How do you know my name? Naruto asked. How could we not? Kitty exclaimed. You're like a total big-time hero here. Huh? Naruto asked with a tilt of his head. It started a few months ago. Us and our friends were fighting these weird things. We thought we beat them, but then all of a sudden we ended up in this dark void, Rogue stated. Heartless, Naruto said, narrowing his eyes. We didn't know how long we were in there, but it felt like years, but then... Rogue said, recalling the time she and the X-Men spent in the void between worlds. Flashback start. The lost victims of the Heartless laid in the darkness, several of them beginning to lose hope they would ever leave this nightmare. Suddenly, a wisp of blue light began to erupt from the void, engulfing everyone. When their eyes opened, they found themselves in a strange little town that was growing rapidly to accommodate the new arrivals. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the void, Genie exclaimed over a large TV screen. And welcome to the humble town of Traverse Town, your new home away from home. This new chance at life is brought to you by the generous heart of Mr. Naruto Uzumaki, What a swell guy. An image of Naruto soon appeared, then displayed the video of him making his wish. Flashback end. Crazy blue loon, Naruto groaned, when Kitty suddenly kissed his cheek, making him blush a slight red. Thanks, Naruto, you're a real hero, she said with a smile. Hey, you should come by the institute. I know our friends would love to meet you in person. Yay, plus a Keyblader needs friends, right? Rouge asked. Naruto gave it a thought, before shrugging his shoulders as he didn't see the harm in doing it. Okay, so long as one of you lovely ladies shows me the way, he said. This caused both Kitty and Rogue to blush at what he called them. Kid, you need to get to the mayor's office, Kurama said, reminding him that Jessica wanted to see him. Dang, Naruto thought, as he knew Kurama was right. What's wrong? Kitty asked, noticing his frown. I need to get to the mayor's office. The mayor wants to see me about something, Naruto said. Let me guess, you don't know where it is since the town changed? Rogue asked him with a smirk, as she crossed her arms. Naruto nodded, slightly embarrassed. Like, that's okay. We can show you the way, Kitty said, as she walked over and slipped her arm through his. Wow, you a ninja or something? Naruto asked, impressed with her power. Kitty laughed at this, as she replied, That's a first, but no, I'm not a ninja like those guys that showed up in town, along with us. Naruto smiled brightly. Did they have headbands like me? He asked, while pointing at his headband. They were actually they from your world? Rogue asked him curiously. Yay, I just hope they are adjusting to the town okay, Naruto said, as they walked down the street. Yes, they are doing fine since their leader is working with the mayor, Rouge said. Leader? Naruto asked, hoping it was someone he knew. Yay, this blonde lady with a big rack, Kitty said, sounding jealous as she held her hands away from her own, to show the size difference. Naruto snorted at this, as he said, Yeah, that would be the best way to describe Ba-chan. Though you forget to add a drunken gambler to that though. Kitty giggled hearing this, as she had heard that about her too. What's Ba-chan mean? Rouge asked, wanting to be in on the joke. It means granny, or old lady, Naruto told her. Both the girls' eyes went bug-eyed hearing this. There's no way she's that old. She looks old enough to be my big sister, Kitty said. It's an illusion technique from my world. She's in her 60s, Naruto said with a shrug. The girls both thought, if she looks that old with her illusion, I don't know if I want to see what she really looks like. So are powers normal in your old world? Naruto asked, changing the conversation. Yay, powers came in all shapes in our old world, Kitty said with a grin. What's yours, Rogue? Naruto asked, wanting to know more about her. Rogue sighed hearing this question, as she had a feeling Naruto may not like her power. What's wrong? Naruto asked with a frown. Her power is complicated, Kitty said sadly, as she knew Rogue hated her power sometimes. Whenever I touch someone, I drain their life force from them and I can't turn it off, Rogue said. Naruto said, thinking to himself. Kurama, you think chakra will make me immune to that? Worth a shot, Kurama said to him, from his mindscape. Naruto nodded. Hey, I have a theory. Can I test it? He asked Rogue. What's the test? Rogue asked with a quirked eyebrow. I want to see if you can drain me, Naruto said simply. Are you sure that's a good idea? Kitty asked, slightly worried for him. It's okay. If something happens, she can let go before something happens to me, right? Naruto asked. Rogue nodded and took off her glove and was about to touch Naruto, but hesitated as she didn't want to hurt him. Naruto then grabbed her hand, which made Rogue flinch, but nothing happened no matter how long she held Naruto's hand, which surprised Rogue and Kitty greatly. How? Rogue asked, surprised as she held onto his hand, hoping that was really happening. My chakra makes me immune to your power, Naruto said, glad that his hunch worked. What's chakra? Kitty asked him curiously. Naruto scratched his head as he tried to think of the best way to explain it. It's like an energy source that ninjas in my old world would use to perform different feats, he explained to them. Can anyone learn it? Rogue asked curiously, getting an idea. Sure, I taught my friends, and they are stronger for it now. Why do you ask? Naruto asked, looking at Rogue. Maybe if I learn this, I can finally control my power, Rouge said, sounding hopeful. That would be fantastic, Kitty said, happy that Rogue could finally have complete control over her powers. Naruto scratched his chin as he said, "I suppose I could give you instructions or ask one of my ninja friends to teach you." "You could text me and know," Rogue told him. "What's that?" Naruto asked, getting surprised looks from the two girls. "You haven't gotten your gummy phone? All citizens of Traverse Town are given one by McDuck Industries," Kitty said, as she pulled hers out to show Naruto. "Well, again I need to get to the mayor's office. So please, do you know where it is?" Naruto asked them. "We are almost there, cutie. Don't worry," Kitty said with a smile, as Rogue rolled her eyes at her friend trying to flirt with Naruto. Outside City Hall. "Whoa, this place is huge," Naruto said, looking at the big building that had all kinds of people leaving it and entering it. "Well, it should be. The mayor and her people have to keep track of all the new districts of Traverse Town," Kitty said. "Yay, when I made that wish, Genie said that the place was going from town to nation." "Guess he wasn't kidding," Naruto said. "Well, we will leave you to your business, but here for when you get your gummy phone," Kitty said, handing him a slip of paper with her number on it. Rogue nodded and handed him a slip of paper with her number too. "I look forward to learning this chakra," Rogue said with a smile. "Just head to wherever my friends are staying and say Naruto told them you're friends with me. That should get someone to at least teach you the basics," Naruto said, as he smiled back at her. Kitty took out her phone and took a picture of Naruto and Rogue, surprising them. "So you have proof," she said with a shrug of her shoulders as she put the phone back in her pocket. Rogue nodded as she and Kitty turned and walked off, waving bye as they went. Naruto entered City Hall, where he saw a big desk and someone familiar was at the desk, writing something on a clipboard. "Big Sis Shizune?" Naruto asked with a smile, with the woman lifting her head up at hearing her name. "Naruto," she yelled happily, as she smiled seeing the blonde alive and well. "Looks like my wish worked for Konoha citizens at the very least," Naruto said. Shizune nodded her head as she got up from the desk and approached Naruto to give him a hug. Naruto smiled as she hugged him, which he returned as he hugged her tight. "So what brings you here?" Shizune asked him as they separated. "I was given a message to come see the mayor by two chipmunks," Naruto said. "Ah, Chip and Dale," Shizune said, recognizing who Naruto meant. "Well, the mayor is talking to Tsunade, but I'll let you go see her, since she will want to see you too," she said, as she pointed to some stairs leading upstairs. Naruto gave her a nod of thanks as he walked up the stairs to the mayor's office. "I don't care if that quack sues me, he can afford to pay for the damage," a woman's voice yelled from inside the mayor's office, just as Naruto was walking to the door. "Yup, that's Ba-chan all right," Naruto thought with a smile. "Who else would it be?" Kurama asked flatly. Naruto opened the door and saw Jessica at a desk wearing a short skirt and a white blouse with a button undone. Jessica looked at the door and smiled. "Ah, you got my message," she said. "Yay," Naruto was saying, before Tsunade grabbed him by the shirt and lifted him up. "Where have you been, ya brat?" she yelled at him as she shook him. "Trying to help other worlds, ya hag. Is this any way to greet me?" Naruto yelled back at her. "Don't get a big head. You may have a keyblade like that Mouse King, but you're still a brat to me," Tsunade said, as she put Naruto down. "And you're still the town drunk?" Naruto asked flatly. "Hey, I'm allowed to have fun since I'm not Cage anymore," Tsunade said. "Yes, Tsunade, but you can't trash a bar by getting into fights," Jessica said with a sigh. "Like I said earlier, blame those Beagle boys, not me. Besides, old man Scrooge can afford it," Tsunade said, with a wave of her hand. "Scrooge?" Naruto asked curiously. "He owns half the businesses in Traverse Town, and Tsunade trashed one of his bars when she got into a disagreement with some thugs," Jessica explained to him. "They were making bets if my rack was real," Tsunade yelled, clearly not amused as she crossed her arms. Naruto snorted hearing this, as anyone stupid enough to do that deserved what happened to them. "Look, just apologize to Scrooge and at least try to minimize the damage next time, otherwise the police force of town will arrest you again," Jessica said. Naruto gave a look of surprise that Traverse Town had a police force, and gave Tsunade a flat look saying, "You've been arrested more than once by the police here." "Ha, those Avengers don't scare me," Tsunade said. They have been handling you with kid gloves until now, and Stark is wanting permission to use tranquilizers on you, and I don't want to approve that, Jessica said. Tsunade crossed her arms with a huff as she said, "He's just mad I peeled his armor off like it was nothing." "Ba-chan, please stop. I don't want to have to bail you out," Naruto said with a disapproving look. Tsunade huffed. "Fine then. I'll minimize the damage next time and send Scrooge some sake as an apology." "Thank you, Tsunade. Now I need to talk to Naruto, so if you could please excuse us," Jessica said to her. "Is it going to be a work talk or about the craw thing I mentioned?" Tsunade asked her. "Both actually, so please leave," Jessica said, as she was feeling a headache coming. Tsunade nodded and left. "Nice to see you, brat. Look us up in the 9th district when you get time," she said as she left. "Oh, by the way, don't hurt him. He's a virgin," she yelled, before she left laughing. Both Naruto and Jessica were blushing atomic red, with Kurama roaring in laughter. Jessica composed herself quickly as she sat at her desk. "So what's up?" Naruto asked her as he got himself under control, sitting down in a chair. "Well, first of all, thanks to your wish, I have a lot of things to do to help new arrivals with requests they have, and I wanted to ask you for help with that," Jessica said as she leaned forward. "Sure, it's my fault that you are now running the equivalent of a nation now, so I don't mind helping out," Naruto said as he gave a shrug. "Good. Also, do you know where you will be staying in Traverse Town?" Jessica asked him curiously. "I was gonna rent a room from Peg's hotel," Naruto said. "No need, I have bought you a house, since as the Prince of Traverse Town you deserve that much at least," Jessica said with a small smile. "Ugh, that wish was only supposed to be in Agrabah, not here," Naruto said, as he placed his head in his hands. "Well, it is what it is, Naruto. So, here's your house key and address, and don't worry, it's a regular neighborhood, as Tsunade told me you would prefer something in a normal area, and not something in the rich district," Jessica said, as she handed over a piece of paper along with a key. "How do I get missions from you?" Naruto asked her, as he picked up the paper and key. "Ah, here," Jessica said, as she took out an orange gummy phone and handed it to him. "This has a function where it will tell you when I have a mission for you, and where and what to do for that mission," she said. "Man, you thought of everything, huh?" Naruto said with an impressed tone. "Well, your wish brought a lot of people here, and a lot of them had great ideas to improve the town," Jessica said. "Well, leave it to me. I'll get to work on some missions after I take a look at my new place," Naruto told her as he left the office. "I'm sure I can depend on you, Naruto," Jessica said with a smile as he left. "Oh dear, I forgot to tell him the news in town told everyone about the craw," she thought. Later with Naruto in the 7th district. Naruto was in a regular-looking neighborhood with all kinds of different types of houses and people. As he was walking, some of the people waved at him and he waved back. He also noticed a few women looking at him and whispering to each other. "Is that a dinosaur waving at you?" Kurama asked in complete shock. Well, all kinds of worlds were destroyed by the Heartless, Naruto thought, as he finally found a big house, with a mailbox that had his last name on it. The house had 2 floors and was pretty nice looking, and it had a nice yard. It was in between a regular house, and a house that looked like it was a mix between a house and a cave. "Wow, this place looks great," Naruto said, while looking at his new place. "I just hope my new neighbors are nice," he said with a smile. "Oh, how bad can they be?" Kurama thought at him. Suddenly, they heard a man yelling next door. "Trudy, that pink lizard kid is in our backyard again," Naruto heard as he looked into the next yard. "Oscar, he's a dinosaur," a woman's voice said in a calming tone. "Lizard, dinosaur, same thing. I'll make him leave," the man known as Oscar said as he went out into the backyard. "Okay, you little nuisance, you won't get the drop on Oscar Proud this time," he said as he looked around his yard for something. "Do you need any help?" Naruto asked, looking at the man. Oscar looked at Naruto. "I can handle this kid, but thanks. Who are you?" he asked, not noticing a pink lizard tail sticking out of a bush nearby. "I'm your new neighbor, Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto said in greeting. "That name important? It sounds familiar," Oscar said as he gained a thoughtful look. Suddenly, an old woman with white hair walked out into the backyard. "Boy, he's that Keyblader that made it so we have this new home here," she said, as she whacked him on the head with her walking stick. "That's cold, mama," Oscar said as he rubbed his head. "Oh, shut up and get inside, boy. You know that Sinclair kid will just hit you again," the old woman said. "What's the problem, miss?" Naruto asked as he jumped the fence to enter the yard. "Call me Sugar Mama, young man, everybody does. And it's no problem. My son doesn't like the neighbor kid coming into our yard when he knows he's friends with his twin kids," Sugar Mama said. "Bibe and Cease don't need friends that don't respect their elders, mama," Oscar said, as he started checking each bush in his yard. "You don't like him because he hits you and the kids laugh at it," Sugar Mama said with a laugh. "Oscar, please come inside. He's harmless," an older woman holding 2 babies said as she came into the backyard. "Who would like being hit in the head, Trudy?" Oscar said, looking up at his wife and mom, not noticing the bush next to him shaking, as what looked like a pink baby dinosaur wearing a yellow shirt and a diaper was crawling towards Oscar. Sir?" Naruto said, trying to get Oscar's attention. "Look, just go inside, mama. That kid won't get me again," Oscar said, ignoring Naruto. The pink dinosaur soon approached Oscar and looked at Naruto. He then giggled in a mischievous way and then bit Oscar hard in the leg. "Ah!" Oscar yelled, falling on his back holding his leg in pain. The pink dinosaur then grabbed a baseball bat in the yard and smacked Oscar in the head, knocking him out. "Amateur," he yelled as he and the 2 babies Trudy was holding laughed. "And that's 10 to the baby and zip to Oscar," Sugar Mama said, as she laughed at her son losing again to the baby dinosaur. Naruto tried not to laugh, but this was just too weird to not chuckle at. "Hey, little guy," he said as he squatted down so he could get a good look at the baby dinosaur. The baby dinosaur looked at Naruto. "Hi, I'm the baby, gotta love me," he said, greeting Naruto. Naruto chuckled hearing this, as it was a cute greeting. "Hi, I'm Naruto, and I'm your new neighbor," he said. "Oh, you're that Keyblader, right?" Trudy asked, as she approached Naruto. "That's me, Mrs. Proud, right?" Naruto asked, turning to greet her. "That's right. I'm Trudy, this is my husband Oscar, and his mom Sugar Mama. And these 2 are Bibe and Cease," she said, holding up the 2 babies. "Get up, boy, you have taken worse than that," Sugar Mama said, approaching a dazed Oscar. "Look, it's my loving family looking at me with love and concern," Oscar said, slurring his words as Trudy put down the babies who crawled to their daddy. "Is he gonna be okay?" Naruto asked slightly worriedly. "He will be okay. He's an idiot, but he's been through worse," Sugar Mama said with a shrug. "My family, how I treasure them," Oscar slurred, while still slumped on the ground. Baby then approached Oscar's face, bat in hand. "Again," he yelled as he hit him again, knocking him out. Naruto flinched, hearing the crack of the bat as he knew that must have hurt. He then approached the baby and picked him up. "You're a little prankster, aren't you?" he asked with a grin. "Yay, yay, 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 yay," Baby said, rapidly holding up his bat. "Mama, are you home?" a girl's voice called out from inside the Proud's house. "Backyard Penny," Trudy said, as she helped Oscar to his feet, and they went into the house. "Come on, boy," Sugar Mama said, dragging Naruto with her into the house. "I don't want to intrude," Naruto said. "Nonsense, you're a new neighbor, and I think it's only proper that you meet everyone in the family," Sugar Mama said, as they entered through the back door. A white poodle ran over to Sugar Mama and jumped into her hair. "There you are, Puff," Sugar Mama said with a smile. They all soon entered a living room, where Trudy helped Oscar lay down on the couch, as he was still out of it from the baby's attack with a bat. Naruto noticed a young woman that was around his age that looked similar to Trudy. The woman looked at Naruto, and her eyes widened in surprise, and she looked away from him. "What do you need, Penny?" Trudy asked, as she brought Oscar an ice pack to lay on his head. I heard that the Keyblader finally returned to Traverse Town, and I was going to ask permission to go see him before he went to another world," the woman, revealed to be Penny, said. "Well, it's your lucky day, Penny, as he's our new neighbor," Sugar Mama said, as she sat down on her couch. Naruto smiled at Penny and waved, while still carrying the baby dinosaur. "Hi, glad I could make things better for you all. Name's Naruto Uzumaki," he said. Penny smiled at Naruto, as she felt more at ease, glad that he wasn't smug about what he did to help people. "So, What are you doing since you're obviously not fighting the Heartless currently? She asked. Naruto shrugged his shoulders as he replied, right now, I'm checking out the house the mayor gave me when I heard your dad yelling about a pink lizard and how he was going to catch him this time. Penny laughed at this. Daddy lost again, huh? She asked, looking at her father. Trudy nodded her head as she checked over Oscar to make sure that he was all right. Oscar soon recovered and looked around. What happened? He asked. Baby looked at Oscar from Naruto's arms and started swinging his bat. Take me out to the ball game, he sang tauntingly. Get that kid away from me, Oscar yelled as he ran upstairs. The baby laughed at this, along with Naruto, Sugar Mama, and Penny. Well, I better get this guy home before he puts your dad into a coma, Naruto said with a smile as he tickled Baby's stomach. Penny frowned at this, as she had just met Naruto, and he was leaving. Relax, Penny, he's our neighbor now, so you have a chance to get to know him, Trudy said with a smile. Penny visibly relaxed, as she wanted to make friends with him, as her friends from her world hadn't survived. But she was able to make some new friends, and they were great friends. Though that craw thing the papers were saying about him may make spending time with him hard, Sugar Mama said as she read the paper. Oh great, that's just what I need. Daddy finding out about that, Penny said, as even though her dad let her have more freedom since she was 17 now, that information about Naruto may set him off again into overprotective dad mode. Well, you just worry about getting your man. I'll handle your father, Trudy said with a teasing grin. You better take a bat, Sugar Mama said with a smirk. With Naruto. Okay, now which house is yours, little guy? Naruto asked as he stood in his front yard holding Baby. That one, Baby said, pointing at a house that looked like a mix between a cave and a house. Naruto just shook his head, saying, of course it is, as he approached the front door and knocked on the door. Hold on, I'm coming, a female voice said, opening the door. It was a female dinosaur that was wearing an apron. It's the mama, Baby said happily seeing his mother. The dinosaur looked at Baby and smiled. Sweetheart, you're supposed to be in the backyard. Did you dig your way out again? She asked. Baby nodded. I was playing with not the mama, he said happily, while swinging his bat a little. Ah, Mr. Proud, I assume? The dinosaur said, looking at Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Yay, the little guy got him good, miss? Naruto asked, hoping to get the name of his neighbor. Fran Sinclair, and thank you for bringing our baby home, she said, taking Baby from Naruto and putting him in a high chair. No problem. I figured as your new neighbor, I should bring him to you, before he scared Mr. Proud anymore, Naruto said with a smile. Oh, you're a new neighbor? Well, welcome to the neighborhood, mister, Fran asked, hoping to get his name. Naruto smiled as he bowed his head politely. Naruto Uzumaki, he said. Oh, the Keyblader that wished everyone to this town? Fran asked, sounding grateful. That's me, no need to thank me, Naruto said, as he waved his hand like it was no big deal. What's a Keyblader? Baby asked curiously from his high chair. Naruto put his hand to his chin, trying to think of an easy way to explain this for the baby to understand. You know those heartless bad guys? He asked. Baby made a face that showed he didn't like the heartless one bit. Well, I go to different worlds and try to stop them, Naruto said, as he summoned his Keyblade to show the baby. Ooh, oh shiny, Baby said, as he touched the handle with his hand. You superhero? He asked with a tilt of his head. Naruto smiled at the baby. I guess you could say that, he said, glad the baby understood as he put his Keyblade away. Suddenly, he heard a buzzing sound in his pocket, which when he looked he saw his gummy phone was alerting him of some available missions in town. Sorry, looks like I gotta go. You try to stay out of trouble, okay, little man? Naruto said with a smile, as he nodded at Fran as he left. He doesn't know me very well, does he? Baby said, looking at his mama. Fran smiled and shook her head at her youngest child's antics. A bit later, with Naruto in the business district. Naruto was walking down the street, looking at his gummy phone, looking through his available missions. Okay, let's see. Help a theater, solve a burglary crime, help set up a playground, Naruto said, looking through the short list. Hey, that's my purse, a woman yelled, getting Naruto's attention. He saw what looked like 3 anthropomorphic dogs running down the street. They looked different from each other, with one being very short, one skinny and tall, and the third big and bulky. They were all wearing red shirts, with a big B in the front. I guess that all towns have criminals, Naruto thought with a sigh, as he got ready to step in. But before he could, he saw what looked like a guy in a red and blue outfit swinging after the three criminals. "It's one of those heroes," the bulky-looking dog man said, as he looked back seeing the costumed hero swinging from the buildings. "Those heroes won't get the drop on the Beagle Boys," the short one said, as he kicked a wagon full of barrels, which sent the barrels rolling down the road towards some kids playing in an empty lot. "Damn it," Naruto thought, as he jumped into action and ran towards the lot where the kids were playing. One of the kids looked up and looked at Naruto. She was a young girl wearing her hair in pigtails and had a beanie hat and combat boots on. "What do you want?" she asked, with an edge in her voice. A boy with a gray jacket and a red baseball cap looked at her, then looked at Naruto. "Spinelli, it's that Keyblader the blue guy talked about, remember?" he said. This boy's name was TJ. "Talk later, move," Naruto yelled, pointing at the fast-approaching barrels. The kids looked at the barrels, and before they could move, a giant spider web blocked their path, stopping the barrels in their tracks. Naruto was surprised seeing this, as this was new for him. "Everyone okay?" a male voice said from above them. When they looked up, they saw the hero that was chasing the Beagle Boys. One of the kids, who had short blonde hair in a military style, smiled seeing the hero. "Oh cool, it's Spider-Man," he said. "We can all see that, Gus," Spinelli said flatly, as she crossed her arms over her chest. "Oh, come now, Spinelli. It's not every day we are saved by a superhero," a big child with blonde hair said with a smile. This boy's name was Mikey. "Well, we should get used to it since the town has dozens of heroes," a red-headed girl with glasses said. This girl's name was Gretchen. "Are we gonna keep playing, or what?" a boy wearing a green sports jersey said, as he spun a basketball on his finger. This boy's name was Vince. "Yay, let's go play," TJ said, leading his kids to keep playing in the abandoned lot. "Kids," Naruto said, shaking his head at the fact that those kids weren't fazed by what just happened one bit. He then looked at Spider-Man, who was still on the wall of the building. "You do realize those crooks tricked you, so they could escape, right?" he asked with a raised eyebrow. "Aw man, Mr. Stark is gonna be so disappointed," Spider-Man said as he hung his head. "Is this hero a kid? He sounds younger than you," Kurama said to Naruto. "Relax, I can track those criminals easily. You just keep saving people, like you just did since you made the right call," Naruto said, as he ran up a wall and started jumping from roof to roof in pursuit of the Beagle Boys. Spider-Man watched him go, with his eyes going wide, as he didn't think he'd be able to see anyone do what he could do. With Naruto. "Okay, now where are those losers?" Naruto said, as he activated his Sage mode so he could easily track them. He soon felt their auras, and stopped on the roof of an abandoned building. He then heard voices coming from inside the building. "Why are we stealing people's purses when we already have Scrooge's dime?" one of the voices said. Another voice, that sounded like incomprehensible babbling, then started talking. "Because Bouncer and Burger, Ma said we can hold it for ransom. Yet she said we need to make McDuck squirm a bit first," Big Time said to them. "But Big Time, didn't Ma say that we shouldn't draw attention to ourselves?" Burger asked. "Oh, what could happen? Besides, we avoided one of those heroes and nobody followed us," Big Time aid. Sounding confident. "That's my cue to enter," Naruto said, as he made a racing gun and shamed it into the roof, making a big hole which he jumped into, landing next to the Beagle Boys. "Who the heck are you?" Big Time asked, clearly angry that they have been found. "What, you don't know little old me? I'm so hurt," Naruto said, with a look of fake hurt on his face. Bouncer babbled, seeing Naruto while pointing at him. "The Keyblader?" Big Time and Bouncer yelled in surprise. Naruto summoned his Keyblade in its 3 wishes form, and suddenly sand was flying everywhere, which grabbed the 3 of them and pinned them to the wall. "Let me go, you do-gooder," Big Time yelled as he tried to break loose. "That the best insult you got? I've heard way worse than that," Naruto asked, disappointed. "Now, where is the purse you stole, and this dime you stole?" he asked them. Big Time smiled, confidently hearing this. They are in our safe, and I'm not telling you the combination. So ha, he said, with a smug smirk. Naruto looked at the safe on a table and pointed his keyblade at it, which glowed as it opened for him, showing a purse and a dime. Big Time looked flabbergasted as he spluttered out, "Wah, but I don't, huh? I would explain it to you, but I don't have the time to waste a weekend trying to get you three to understand," Naruto said, as he took the purse and dime from the safe. He then took out his phone and texted someone. "What are you doing now?" Burger asked curiously. "I'm texting the mayor to send someone to pick you three up. Have fun in lockup," Naruto said, as he jumped out of the hole in the roof and took off, leaving the Beagle Boys trapped in his sand. "Ma's not gonna be happy," Burger whimpered. Big Time growled in anger at being beaten so easily. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 5. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and authors KFB Anime 87 and Fanatos 125 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.